Why aren't ATMs more like those fortune teller machines? Somebody should do that shit.
They should.
That would be nice.
That would be an automated teller machine. Right?
Yes. You'd get a fortune and a fortune.
You, with your withdrawal, you would get a fortune as well.
Mm-hmm. It'd be on the receipt. Your balance.
And then, like, if somebody tried to rob an ATM, then the guy would have to, like, put his hands up.
Throw his hands up in the air.
That'd be great. Yeah, and then he's like an animatronic, like, turning around.
Just like,
do not hurt me, please. Take the money. And then one of his, like, animatronic arms is moving down to a red button. But you can really, it's, like, really slow and you can see it.
And it's making cranking noises.
Are you going for a button? No, sir.
and then it comes back.
Or it, like, clumsily pulls out a shotgun. Like, really slow. That'd be great. That's a great idea.
Oh, my goodness.
Why can't anybody do that?
Those ATMs would be the sweetest.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sign In, episode 112. I am Jeremy Superfro33.
I'm Craig Profdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
How is everybody?
I have to start with an apology.
That is the best way to start a show.
Isn't it? Right?
I'm pretty sure what we just did at the beginning. I don't know what...
how I introduce myself generally. Hi, I'm Craig. I'm sorry. What for? You'll find out.
So what are you apologizing for? Let's get it out of the way.
Because I have these great contest entries, and then I was planning on reading them, and then a bunch of shit happened here at the end of the week, and I didn't get a chance to read them.
How dare you?
Yes, I know.
You should know, and I hope this apology is to me, because I take the full responsibility and usually the brunt of disappointing our audience.
I know.
And now
I'm sorry to take that.
You
away
have
from
taken it away from me,
taking your power,
and it's kind of disappointing.
Yes, I can understand.
I expected more from you than to steal my big thing that I do on the show.
I think our audience members knew that this was going to happen.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding, Craig.
No, they had more faith in Craig.
I think there was
now they know.
They're like, yeah, that's how
that it's false.
Never going back.
You can't undo that.
Put that genie back in
nope,
the bottle.
Not at all.
The good news is that it would have meant that I would just announce a winner, and then next episode we would play the audio recording. But that means I have time to prepare for that audio recording, and I can make it.
That's a nice spin.
The announcement and the thing will happen at the same time.
Fantastic.
I know, right?
you salvage that. No apology necessary. Nah. We're not taking any new entries, though. So the entries that still came in, those are the ones that we're going to be picking a winner from.
Yes.
And it will happen on the next episode.
Yes.
So it's still happening.
Yes.
Unlike mine, that doesn't end up happening ever. Right?
Right.
So you still are better than me. You can sleep easy with that.
And I may still pick a winner. I'm going to pick a winner.
You may still pick a winner.
Between the 2 weeks.
It's not happening now.
What I meant was I may still contact the winner.
Okay. So that they know?
Before the next episode. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they can get all excited. Sit next to the internet waiting for the post to come up.
Nothing more exciting than that.
They can tell all their friends and family to come over. They'll all be huddled around the computer.
I would recommend refreshing your mail now every 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're probably
until you hear from Craig.
You might get a bunch of emails from that winner, like totally changing his script. And, oh wait. Yeah, you're my character, that direction's not the way it's supposed to be. You might have this weird producer now.
They're just going to be sitting there refreshing their mail and be like, what's that? Oh, a goddamn Chili's coupon. Damn it.
That's even better. That Nigerian prince.
I need to get off of this Barnes & Noble mailing list. Anyway, so we will have that
Speaking
next
from
time.
Experience there on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I am. So we'll have that next episode.
Yes.
You promise.
Yes. I did get entries. I just have not had a chance to read them all. So
we'll get it. That's all right.
Yeah.
We've all been busy.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about Sean, but I know I have.
Yeah, I've been busy.
My
and
mother
you say you have.
My mother's going crazy with wedding stuff, which is coming up in about a month plus. So.
Your wedding.
Yes, my wedding.
Not hers.
No. Which just makes it worse because Yeah.
You don't want to get into that? The separate wedding cast? Oh, no, wait. That's you.
That's my own cast.
Wedding cast.
Yeah, it's copyrighted.
Well, good luck. It's, what, a month and a half? 2 months away now, right?
Yeah, it's something like that, yeah.
And then it'll be over.
Yeah. Yes.
Then you'll be done. Even though you guys are already married.
Right.
Nah,
We like to confuse people.
It's like, I'm already confused. I don't know what's happening.
Okay, so now we have a new contest. Right to explain what's going on.
What's going on?
All right.
You know what should be going on is us talking about video games.
Let's do that.
So we've been busy, but we did still manage to squeeze in some games like always,
did.
right? You have a lot.
Like a little thief in the night. I kept jumping around.
Squirreled away some time.
I did. I would be like, here's 5 minutes to play this game. All right, now I can't do this anymore. I got to go do something else. Come back and play like another thing for like 5 minutes. I wake up early in the morning so I could play a little bit of Tomb Raider and all that stuff and not, yeah. It's,
well, good. You have some Tomb Raider then.
I do have some Tomb Raider.
We all have Tomb Raider.
You? Excellent. And just, I wanted to touch back on some Anarchy Reigns. I dived into that a little deeper. A couple XBLIG games. I don't know why I decided to
We do that all the time.
do that.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It starts good.
Because
it doesn't end good.
It does not.
It starts okay.
And then your tongue
XBLIG.
a couple of sort of adventure games. I'm not entirely sure how to categorize them, but they're mystery based games, and so
Then it's fitting.
Yes, I'm gonna talk about both of those.
The genre is a mystery.
I think it says adventure with a question mark in the genre for that game. Adventure.
I also tried out, I think, all of the XBLA offerings in the past 2 weeks.
Jesus.
And Omerta, City of Gangsters, which Sean informs me may have come out before our last episode. But
Or the day, I think so.
yeah, no, I whatever.
'Cause I thought it was Mafia 2, but then I was like, that's not Mafia 2.
So I tried
You
that
guys
one
can
out.
fight it out. I don't care.
Okay.
I didn't look at it.
Ding.
Ding, ding. Ring the bell.
Whoa, ring my bell.
No.
All right, what else you guys play?
I don't have a lot more. You're going to be talking a lot, it sounds like. So get ready. But I'll throw in some
Is
inane
it my
questions.
penance for not having
It might be. It's your penance for stealing away time for these games, and then you're like, I'm the only one? That's how it gets you. I finished up Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and so I have a little bit more to say about that.
Excellent.
And I played some Crysis 3. Not a ton, but enough
Okay.
to talk about it. And then some Tomb Raider. So
Excellent.
all of that.
Good graphics on that Crysis 3.
It looks good.
It does.
Yeah. You can only go so far on a console.
Yeah.
Good graphics.
Good graphics.
That's what
Good
that was.
graphics.
Thanks for ruining my review.
That was my review of Tomb Raider. I'm kidding.
You're copying that on Tomb Raider
I'm
too?
kidding. And Aliens Colonial Marines.
The graphics is good.
Ugh.
I did after
Were you squinting?
after listening.
It's better than the other Tomb Raider because it has more graphics.
How many graphics does it have?
A lot of them.
That actually sounds
yeah.
On the old game, you could only have like 64 graphics,
It actually sounds like what I would say.
256 graphics. Now you can have more graphics.
I love the graphics.
But after hearing Craig last show talk about that ending to Colonial Marines,
It sounded so enticing, right?
well. It was enticing, and also hearing that it wasn't that hard of a game, I'm like,
it is a super easy
Was
game.
that more enticing?
that was enticing. So I kind of I dove into that.
Excellent.
I picked that up.
That could have more better graphics.
You could have.
It's missing some graphics.
Could have a lot of things.
It's missing some graphics.
It's missing some things.
But I also got to play the Star Wars pinball tables.
Yay.
I have some of the XBLA games and 2 different XBLA. Oh, how about it?
Why did you do it?
I don't know.
He just did it a minute ago.
I know.
He did it better, but
I know.
it's still bad.
Because I'm a train wreck. So I have a couple of indie games. I about called them Indian games.
That's racist.
Well, it depends. He might not have been. He might not have been racist. We didn't let him finish.
But that's
Indian by itself is not racist, right?
yeah. No.
He's not gonna finish.
No.
That's the problem.
All right. So is that it?
That's it.
All right.
All right. Let's do it. Oh yeah.
Before we jump in, you'll have your contest next episode.
Yes.
So we'll have that. And I did want to mention real quick a big thank you to. We don't mention it very often. Maybe a couple times a year. We don't like to harp on it. But it's always out there as an option, and that is donating to the show.
Yeah.
And we had a couple folks step up in the last couple of weeks, and it's much appreciated. And I just wanted to give a little shout out at the beginning and say that is awesome.
Yes.
And it goes to, I wouldn't say a good cause. I guess if you're donating,
further
maybe you
funds
feel that
the
way.
show.
It does further fund the show.
Do you ever think about that before you do this?
It helps immensely. It helps immensely. So, thanks to everybody who takes the time and out of their own pocket to get
taxes
to us
are coming
on that.
up. Maybe we're a write-off or something.
Holy shit! Maybe we are. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be considered a write-off for anything, but that might be the case.
He was over budget this year, and he was like, silent podcast.
So anyway, thanks to everybody. It's always out there. But
under
we don't like to talk about it because I feel oogie about some of that stuff. But hey, we'll take it. Right?
Why do you bring your donation plate to the recordings then?
Well, that's from you guys. That's a tip jar more than anything. So,
well, let me write you a tip.
and that means money, Sean.
Oh.
Don't put the tip in. On that note, let's talk about some games, right?
Nice transition.
That's what I'm here for.
All right.
Put money in the jar, please.
Sean, why don't you talk about one of your games first, please?
I'm going to kick it off with Chromathud. It's sold for...
That's a fantastic name.
I like it.
I don't care what else happens.
It's sold for 80 points. It's from the Chromathud team. It's 1 to 2 players. It's a bricklayer type game, kind of your
Bricklayer or brick breaker?
brick breaker. Okay. Not really even a brick breaker. It's more of an educational add up the numbers, but it's like a Tetris type, or you're Bejeweled, where you have your screen and you have different colors. 1 through 9 are the numbers. Each brick, and they'll give you 15, 16, 17, a number, and you have to add those bricks up, and that's what makes the bricks disappear.
Gotcha.
So you do that by lining up the numbers?
Or you pick the bricks.
You pick the bricks.
Yep, and then that adds up to the number that they're giving you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, got it.
And that, and then the bricks are, steadily rising up the screen like, any other kind of game like that. But I really liked it. It was pretty easy to learn, of course. I mean, it's just adding. But
I would have been a little concerned.
But the problem is if you do make,
Here we go.
If you do make some,
This is gonna be awesome.
If you mess up, you get X's for bricks.
Yeah.
So you can't use those bricks anymore, and those you have to like clear up underneath them so those bricks will go away. Because I found myself not paying attention to the rules at the very beginning. And I'm like, I just need to have 3 close to each other. I was thinking the classic, the classic game, puzzle games, but it's more of an educational type based game where you're
And
adding
you're like,
up.
what is this bullshit?
You're trying to jewel slide.
A little bit. And I'm like, this isn't working. And then I also found out that I think it's the left trigger, makes the bricks go up faster.
Yeah.
Because I was going through the buttons and I was like, pressed
Is
out.
that to get you more numbers or something?
Yeah, because sometimes you go through and you'll play like the time. I think the time one is there's ones that are you try to get them done in some amount of time. The one I had was just unlimited. I think that was in the trial that you could just keep playing until time went out. But I thought it's a pretty simple game. But anyone that likes those kind of like those Bejeweled type Tetris type kind of games where you kind of have to think things
And
through.
math.
And also just I found myself trying to get used to the colors because then you could kind of. It just was a lot easier that way.
Is it all addition subtraction?
Yeah, it's just adding to get those numbers.
So you didn't need to like fall back on your times tables?
No.
You were
But
good.
I almost a couple times, because if 12 would come up, I'm like, hey, 4 3s.
There you go.
3 4s, I mean, because
So you
can't
did
go
use your
for it.
times tables.
I was.
Good job.
I was multiplying and subtracting, but it was a game that's kind of it doesn't look that great, but I had a lot of fun playing it.
Cool.
So and it's only $1.
It's good for all ages.
Yeah.
Sounds like it'd be good for kids and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Well, I tried out, as I mentioned at the top of the show, sort of adventure mystery game. It's called Wright Brothers Mysteries Indie-Sode 1, suggesting that they're going to make more Indie-Sodes here. Developed by Xbox. That's not Xbox, but ECHSBACHS. See, that's clever.
Ooh.
I didn't figure that out until I just said that, actually. Because I've read it.
right,
But I
you didn't
never
say
say it out loud. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sells for
It's a slow burn.
80 points. It is. Sells for 80 points and is quite unique because I think it's the first indie game that I've seen that is developed using that old sort of fun program called the Movies, where you would you could create those 3D animated movies using some stock animations and things like that. So it's centered around these two boys. One's kind of nerdy, one's not. I don't know. He's got a shaved head or something.
Is he sporty?
I suppose so.
Jock.
I didn't get that much from the demo.
Okay.
For some reason, some old lady is asking them to solve this mystery for her. And so then they rush off to go solve this mystery, and you don't get that far into the demo.
Okay.
But basically, I have a hard time calling it an adventure game based on what I saw in the demo. Perhaps different things happen later, but basically you kind of sit through a cutscene for a while. It's got voice acting. I think it's all done by one guy, and then you'll get like this choice. Like, so it starts off and the boys are talking to this old lady, and she received this package in the mail, and she hands it off to them, and then you get to decide what's inside the package. Is it a flash drive, a CD-ROM, or a DVD-ROM?
Okay.
So you make your choice, and then the exact same thing happens regardless of what you choose. And then they kind of...
So almost like there's not a choice at all.
So then the cutscenes progress, and they figure out what that means. And so then they're going to have to go somewhere, and then you get to choose whether they're going to take a taxi, a bus, or a helicopter. And then you choose, and it takes them there in whatever way you chose. I, of course, chose a helicopter,
right?
Which they flew themselves.
Oh, awesome.
I know,
Well, they're
right?
the Wright Brothers.
They are. Good call.
So, and that's about as far as I got.
Okay.
Because you can't skip the cutscenes. So the second time I played it through to see if things were different, I couldn't speed it up. Actually, I take that back. That was the third time. The second time I tried to play it through, somehow I magically skipped the first cutscene, and then the whole thing locked up. Like when I got to the first choice. But yeah, so my guess is that it continues like that. It's a sort of very extremely casual game in that it's just kind of telling a story that you can have fun with, and choose helicopters. Choose to have the boys fly helicopters, which is pretty sweet.
Why not?
More of that stuff, please. Less of the flash drive CD-ROM.
More helicopters.
Yes, more helicopters all the time. The other game that I played was called Investigate This, which I'm guessing is the name of a potential series, just like the Wright Brothers Mysteries. And the subtitle is actually the full subtitle is The Scourge of the Scarecrow, but on indie games it's just Scarecrow!
Scarecrow.
Which is much more hilarious.
Boo.
Sells for 80 points, comes from twistedgames.com, which we might remember from the Agent Kendall series.
Yes.
And a few other excellent games. And so if you remember their modus operandi, they tend to make interactive games that use full 3D animation and involve choices and some deductive reasoning. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this one though, because from the demo trial, I couldn't get too far into it. Like, there was plenty going on, and I was trying to, especially the second time I was playing, I was trying to skip through a lot of the dialogue as fast as I can, but you can't totally skip a cutscene. Anyway, so there's this young couple who apparently solve mysteries together, and so then at one point you get to choose whether to be the guy or the girl for your primary player, I suppose. They're called by this strange dude who sits in a mansion in the dark while a thunderstorm's going on, and he's hired you to go help this friend of his, air quotes are going on here.
Yes.
Because you get there and she's like, I don't know who this guy is, but he said he was sending some detectives to help.
Is this an X-Files story?
It's a little bit. Because this lady's a farmer and there's this weird scarecrow that keeps popping up. And like there's this scene where she's standing at the window and it's all foggy outside and you can see the scarecrow kind of stand up out in the field. And then the fog kind of moves through and then the scarecrow's gone. Then he pops up in front of the window!
That sounds
Spoiler.
terrible. I don't want to play that. It did scare me.
So then they go off to investigate, and they stop at the motel they're staying at, and there's like this corn maze right next to it. And so then your character decides they want to run through the corn maze really fast. So you get to these T intersections, and you have to choose left or right. And if you get to a dead end, then it goes back, and you have a time limit going on, and so you have to try and find your way out. And I'm wondering, okay, so then later. They go talk to the lady.
Yeah.
They're driving back. All of a sudden, the scarecrow appears in the road in front of them. They skid to a halt. This is nighttime, by the way.
Yeah.
It's all foggy. And so your character gets out and then goes to investigate. And then the batteries in the flashlight are dying. And then that's when the demo ended. And I was just gaining control. And I think I have to run around. So I'm wondering if this is similar to kind of a Slender Man game type where you're running around in the woods trying to find your way to a certain destination while being stalked by this thing that will randomly generate in different areas and jump out and scare you. I'm not positive because that's all the further I got, but that would be my best guess. I don't know.
want it to be a little Deadly Premonition-y.
That would be great.
That's what it was.
That's what it made me think of when you did like the corn maze.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm thinking about is like the ridiculousness of that game.
It does kind of have a feel like that.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting.
The game. I think the game is trying to be a little, not silly, but you know, it is trying to have some humor in there. So I think that might be a fairly apt description.
Okay,
there you go.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Excellent.
Deadly Premonition.
Sean, did you have another one?
Put a stamp on it.
Yeah, I got one. If you'll be able to find it on the indie games, I can't give you a name because I don't know what it is. It's some kind of Chinese name or Japanese name.
That's racist.
That is, I know, but I'm sorry.
Just to clarify.
But it cost 80 points.
It's some kind of ease.
He doesn't know the difference between kanji and Chinese characters.
I don't. I don't.
See, he just corrected our racism.
But it is from you walk.
Course correct.
You walk into developers. It's a side-scrolling platformer, and you're like this fairy, and you can jump, and you can just keep jumping, and you'll just keep floating. It's like one of those kind of games where there's sometimes you're going through the platform, and the bottom is out, and it's almost like a maze.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep yourself floating and go through the maze because there's spikes and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really liked the look of it. I thought I just thought the design was good. I couldn't read anything that was going on.
Is everything in the game in that
Yes.
other language? Okay.
Yeah, everything
Like
is.
even on the even the
you're looking
the
it
user
up?
interface.
Yeah,
Real time right now?
Yeah,
Yes.
Awesome.
yeah,
Internet
everything.
power.
But what I really like about the game is that there's the hazards that are involved.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, I just thought they were like part of the background, and then you'd run into them, and then you only get 3 hearts. And if you hit once, you lose a heart, so you're dead essentially. So I'm
dad?
like, my dad, he killed me. But I was walking, there's a cactus, and I just thought, like, there's bushes throughout the whole part of the first intro, and there's a cactus there, and I walk into it, and then boop, there's a heart gone.
You don't know the difference between a bush and a cactus?
But why can I walk through a bush, but I can't walk? So I just thought,
Have you real life?
it doesn't. It
Put a
was
little bit into that.
They got to put pointies on them. Like really.
Oh,
absurd,
so there wasn't, like-
like
Gotcha.
absurd cartoony pointies
Yeah,
on
you-
them to make it look like that's sharp. But
Gotcha.
I don't know. There was something about the game. I haven't taken it off my hard drive. I don't know if I want to spend the points for it because I keep dying really quickly, but
Yeah.
I keep playing it. So it's worth checking out.
It's Chinese,
Oh, okay.
and the rough translation is "the goblins take Hutchinson."
Sweet.
That's pretty rough. Or maybe it's right on.
There's actually
could be right on.
a character that doesn't translate, so
okay.
I'm not entirely sure what that one is.
I didn't see any goblins. Yeah.
Yet they are coming.
Awesome.
You are forewarned.
I have no idea how I'm going to put this in the show notes, by the way.
But I don't think
Just go and copy and paste.
I will be doing
But you
that.
can't like
From the
shoot.
Xbox. That's what I did here.
I mean, how am I going to find it?
Go to Xbox.
Oh, you found it. Okay.
Yeah, go to indie games.
Yeah, but you can't like. I don't know if there's a way to like shoot things or things like that. But all I know is I was able to fly because all the directions I can't read. So
And don't walk into cactuses.
I think there's a
don't
goblin.
walk into cactus.
I think there's a goblin queen.
Ooh,
Spoilers.
Madeline Pryor. But yeah, that
No, I think different Goblin Queen.
yeah, but totally worth checking out.
Nerd.
80 points.
All right.
I think that's it
Nerd.
for indie games.
Is it it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we have just Craig's marathon of XBLA.
Welcome to the Craig Show.
The Craig Show. I'm going to take a nap.
That's not true.
It's early.
Sean tried out. some
I
of
did
these.
too.
yeah, I know, but I want him to talk.
Oh,
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying there's more than just me. Don't turn it off, listeners. Shall we start with Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds?
BG. That's what the BG stands for.
I guess
Cool.
so. I did some digging. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, which apparently is based on a fighting game.
Yeah.
I had to investigate this a little bit because going into it, it definitely looked like it was based on something. I'm like, anime, manga.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. Basically, it's a side-scrolling 4-player beat 'em up, kind of similar in vein to like Scott Pilgrim. I'm trying to think of. Remember that re-release of an old like Sega Saturn game or something like that fairly recently. It's one of those ones where you have 2 lines that you can walk on, and you can jump back and forth between the foreground and the background as you're fighting. There's one of those that came out like a year or two ago. And there are, I guess, 4 characters you can choose from eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was very confused by it all. These girls have these weapons of power. Somebody gave them to them.
Yeah.
And then people wanted to take them back.
And you just
Something like that.
Just button smash.
Yes.
I thought the presentation was cool. I liked the look of it.
It's very pixelated.
Yep. Very. I like the vibe to it. I don't know.
The music was pretty cool too.
I need a little more hand holding because the whole time I didn't know I could get over to that other part of the screen.
Yeah.
Like the sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
And then
I know. Yeah.
Then I jumped over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because then you can get the combos going pretty good.
I think I had to go back to the main menu too, because I don't think they had a menu that showed the moves inside the game. I had to go back to the main menu and look at that. Yeah, because I'm like, are those dudes just going to stand back there?
Yeah.
Is that the way this is supposed to
like
be?
a
And I'm just
background.
on this line?
And I got to wait for them to jump over so I can beat them up.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't jump over if that was them.
And then they're like, is that guy going to is that lady going to stand over there? Or do we have to go over there and fight her?
I
or
guess
what?
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the character designs are all kind of fun.
Yeah.
They all have these big heads, and they're all weird, like robo people designs. And you have like this power meter. It took me a while to figure that out too, because again, they didn't explain it. You have like this power meter that builds up based on you hitting enemies and getting hit as well, and then you can go into like this overdrive where you fuck shit up.
Sounds like a little lacking in the explanation.
It is a little
But then again,
if you read the manual, it's all there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
But
not
like
sure.
even so, like usually some of those demos they give you at least a little bit of instruction on
They
screen.
do.
like
They do.
X
I
to
don't know.
hit, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
beat a slide.
So I'm wondering if maybe some of that's related to the fighting game controls too, like the actual fighting game, because I had a very strong air. It had a very strong air of you should probably know what's going on already.
Yeah.
Like it gave you a brief explanation, but it was all text, and it was like this big block of text at the very beginning, and then you jump in, and I'm like, ugh.
Wait, you went Sean mode on it?
Yeah.
I read like 4 paragraphs and then finished.
I've only got 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I got stuff to do.
Exactly. Precisely. But yeah, it seems pretty fun.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I have stuff that does that already that I have more of an understanding for.
It's
And
neat.
so-
It was neat, you know, a 1 to 4 player as a multiplayer, 800 points.
Yes,
which
thank
is,
you.
I mean, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good price right there. But again, you know, Scott Pilgrim's on the shelf, and you've got, you know, everybody has Castle Crashers and things like
Yes.
that, where, you know, there's a lot of people playing those online multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And I found myself trying to do moves. Like actually turning the joystick, doing the turn the joystick to
I
like
see.
try to do a move, like because it had that, like all of a sudden I started feeling that fighter vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But really, it's it's pretty simple with like getting you get your main power meter up, and then you hit your trigger, and it just sends the big old combo out.
Yeah.
But graphics wise, I thought it was pretty sharp.
I liked the design a lot.
and
It's
the music, like you
multiplayer.
said, the music was good too. So
Did they ever do that update for Scott Pilgrim with the multiplayer?
it was supposed to happen.
And then
It
they
was supposed to
delayed
happen
it.
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
After the delays, but then it got
I thought it was
delayed
happening.
again.
It was supposed to happen in February.
Whatever.
It was.
Yeah.
And then it didn't.
Yeah.
With
Right.
the Wallace Wells update.
Yeah.
Like they announced it the week it was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's already
Sorry,
on,
I just
already
wanted
on
to make
PS, PS3's
Annoying.
got it, I think.
Yeah, that's been weird. Their whole DLC situation has been really weird.
Yeah, weird.
Because that would open that game up a little bit more. I mean,
I'd play it again.
yep.
I wouldn't.
You'd want
Multiplayer
to.
games, but I'd talk about it.
Yeah.
Another game that I tried out was Dollar Dash, which disappointingly is not 80 points. I think it's like, what, 800 points?
I think so. Yeah.
If I remember
$10
correctly.
dash.
$10 Dash, which is a online multiplayer only game,
yeah.
pretty much, that is kind of a party mini game.
A little bit. Yeah.
I say mini game, but I don't mean it in like WarioWare or something like that,
Yeah.
or Mario Party. Pretty much, you everyone plays as robbers, burglars, who are trying to steal money and then throw it in a van. And so basically, you're trying to compete with all the other burglars to get the dollar amounts necessary. Sounds pretty simple, right?
Yes.
Except then they add in weapons and power-ups and traps that you can lay down, and if you hit enemies, or if you hit other burglars, they'll drop money, and you can grab that money, and then there's, like, guards sometimes wandering around, and, you can shoot rockets into the air, or you can hurl giant boulders at people.
Or trucks will run you over.
Trucks will run you over. There's a lot of different maps, 30...
There was
30-something maps,
it was pretty huge.
Which is ridiculously massive. And then there's a bunch of unlocks that you can do. A lot of them are cosmetic, but then there's also taunts, and then you can buy little dances that you do when you're at the victory screen. And I thought it was fun.
I had fun with it. I played a couple. I played one of the. You go through the trial.
Yes.
Which
the tutorial where you're by yourself
was pretty. It was really easy and it really just walked you along really well. I thought that was very good. And then you get thrown into a multiplayer match.
Yes.
That got pretty crazy. Like
I
almost wanted them to have a little bit more craziness in the tutorial. So then when I jumped into that, I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, there was stuff going all over because you only saw a couple weapons in the tutorial.
Oh yeah. You have to kind of figure things out quickly. Luckily, there's a little the user interface down in the bottom left corner has the items that you're carrying, and it has the buttons next to it. So even if you don't know what it does, you have something and you can press the button in order to use it, which was pretty handy. So
you guys enjoyed it quite a bit, though.
I had a lot of fun with it, and I don't know what your experience was, but I was playing it like in the afternoon or something like that last weekend, I believe, and there were a bunch of kids playing it because they all had their microphones on and they were squealing and having a good time, and it actually added quite a bit for me.
That sounds terrible.
I figured you'd respond that way, but it was quite a bit of fun because just silly, goofy fun.
Yeah,
just running around, chaos happening,
and then you throw your headset on and be like, "Fucking shut up, kids!"
Amazingly, I did not.
You fucking punks. And but like all 8.
I also like when you're the thief, when you grab the money, and the more money you grab, the heavier it is. So
so you slow down.
You slow down a bit. So I thought that was really nice. So you could, and then
the
try to hold on.
Speed shoes are good.
You wait for the speed shoes. So, but yeah, I found myself strategizing a little bit really fast in the game. So like at first, it's like I said initially, I was like caught off guard, but then you kind of follow suit. So
I mean, I've seen some stuff in passing on my Twitter feed about it, and it had been not very positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and I didn't really read into any of the stuff, but it sounded like a number of people that I talk to regularly were kind of disappointed in it.
Well,
so
it is.
I don't know if there was expectations there that didn't. get met.
There might be. I mean, it is pretty one note.
Yep.
I mean, other than maps changing up and you maybe getting a few different power ups that you can buy in the store, it's not going to be any different. The more that you play it.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is going to depend on your opponents.
Well, and maybe playing with friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I tried it out. It wasn't bad.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I'm probably not going to pick it up, but I thought it was fun.
Agreed.
Cool.
The last one we tried out was BIT.TRIP Runner 2. Whole bunch of subtitle, didn't write it down.
BIT.TRIP presents Runner 2 Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
Thank you.
I knew there was a rhythm in there.
There's a lot of other things in there.
So this is a sequel to BIT.TRIP Runner, which was not released on XBLA,
right?
But was on like PS3 and
I think,
PCs as well. And first off, let me state that I have received the game now, and so I'm gonna play it more in depth.
We did get a review copy.
I had tried the demo when it first came out, and we got the review copy a few days later. And then I went to go play the review copy, but it doesn't save your demo levels, and so I had to start from the beginning. And so I actually did spend a little bit some time trying to get back to where I was.
Yeah, because we only got
but the demo goes in pretty deep.
It does. It's a whole
number
first
of
level
levels.
almost,
I
right?
thought
First
that was,
world.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome about the demo.
We just got the review copy like a couple days ago.
Yeah, so I will talk more about it next episode, but this episode we'll just talk about the demo and what that presents.
I checked out the demo as well.
Yes.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I love the presentation style.
Oh,
now, I never played any of the other BIT.TRIP games.
I own the first BIT.TRIP Runner on my PC.
But I know there's a lot more pixelated, right?
Yes.
Like, those are a lot more
They're going for
old
different
style.
kind of eras. Like, there's a lot of homages to games throughout it. Like if you look at in that first
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
the mountains all have faces and things like that. They do it in a slightly different way, but it's referencing things like Mario
Right.
and all that.
And Mario doing all the voiceover. The guy who does the voice of Mario
Oh, is
is
it
doing all the voice work in this game.
for the narration?
Too, yeah, the narrator
I didn't realize that.
is the guy who does the voice of Mario.
That's funny.
Can't remember his name.
Now that's a big difference from the first game, because the first game was just go in there. I wasn't even really sure if there was a story in the first game, but this one's definitely trying to build it as a bit of a story. And
Not necessarily that I understand it, but
no,
but there's a story.
I
going
don't
on.
think you're necessarily supposed to understand it completely.
Right.
Now, so basically, BIT.TRIP Runner is a infinite runner game where the character's going to run automatically, and you have to use the buttons and controls in order to avoid obstacles and grab gold and whatever other sort of things you want to grab. And so you make it to the end. If you've grabbed all the gold, then you get a chance to shoot yourself out of a cannon at a bullseye for some bonus points. And then there are various other things that you can do to gain like extra perfects, because apparently you can get like triple perfect on every level.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
I have managed to get 2 perfects on a level once, and I'm not entirely sure what I need to do to get the third one. So I may have to do some investigation. Now, one thing that I thought, based on having played the first BIT.TRIP Runner and then this one thing that I was very, very grateful for was the addition of the checkpoint. So all
Was
levels...
that not in any other ones?
That was not...
Okay, that sucks.
And so the way the game works is that you're running along, dodging obstacles and all this stuff, but the second you die or hit something, you go back. In the first game, you always went back to the beginning of the level. And
So you had to do it perfect.
You had to do it perfect, basically. Well, you can miss gold.
Right.
But
you can miss items,
you had
but
to
you
dodge
couldn't hit
things
anything.
perfectly. Yes. This one, thank God, has an optional checkpoint about halfway through.
Yeah.
And so you can go through the checkpoint, and if you go through the checkpoint, then anytime you die, then you're going to go back to that checkpoint instead of going all the way back to the beginning, which is great. Because honestly, I have not finished the first world in the original BIT.TRIP Runner because it's just, you can only play it for so long.
Because it's all about precision.
It is. It is.
Until
And
your
repetition.
Brain,
Yes.
Until your brain falls apart.
Now you can choose to jump over the checkpoint and gain extra points instead. And
Oh,
so
okay.
you
I didn't know
You
that.
sacrifice your ability to go back.
found that
but
out.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so if you're comfortable with a level, you can go back through and play it because you get like 50,000 points bonus or something.
Cool.
And in addition to that, there's various things hidden throughout. There's going to be hidden characters that you unlock. There's hidden costumes that each character has. There are bonus levels that they have, which are, I guess they're like Neo Geo games or something like that. In the
I saw
in the
like a
original
screenshot, yeah.
in the original game, the hidden bonus levels were, I guess you could get on each level. They basically, if you got perfect, then you unlock the bonus level, and it was like an Atari level game. It was basically like Pitfall.
Yeah.
in the original one. But this one's a little bit different and a little bit easier. And it's not in every level. You have to find them in the levels where they're at. And the thing is, what's nice is that for the original BIT.TRIP Runner, you got those levels by getting perfect in there. And then if you died, it's over. Like, you don't go back, you just die, and then the bonus level's done. And so if you wanted to try the bonus level again, that meant you had to go back through that entire main level, get that perfect, and then you could start it, and then hope that you don't die in that exact same place. This one, at least, you can choose to play the bonus levels separate. So once you've unlocked it, then actually you don't complete the rest of the level. You just go straight to that bonus level, and then it's an option available in the menu as in the levels.
But you can play it any
choice.
time at that point.
Yes, exactly.
That's good.
Nice.
And then there are different levels that unlock based on the amount of gold that you've collected total, because it keeps track of that. And then there are these key vaults, and you get. Once you completed a key vault, then you unlock keys, which in previous levels unlocks new paths that you can go down. So they encourage you to go back and try out different routes to go on.
The layering of the different abilities, or the ducking, the jumping, the kicking, and I know there's even some more stuff that gets added in down the road. I like how they layer it in that demo, as far as learning a little bit as you go along. But I have a feeling like as those later levels come, I'm gonna want to kill myself.
They can get pretty crazy.
I'm gonna just be spamming the controller and
Yes.
dropping it on the ground.
Yes, and if you're having too much difficulty learning levels, I do recommend you can. There are difficulty settings. If you go down to easy, then it just removes all the gold. I think it's pretty much the same obstacles, but you're no longer making ridiculous jumps just to grab a piece of gold.
Yeah, you don't have the temptation.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so you concentrate on things more. Now, one thing, I like these games, but at the same time, you can only play them for so long, mostly because it makes my eyes hurt, because I'm never quite sure how to look at the screen.
Yeah.
Like, I can stare at the dude, but then that makes my eyes hurt the most, because
because you almost
moving.
need to peripheralize
everything.
all the stuff
Yeah.
and kind of like, sight read kind of how the stuff's going.
Yes.
I found my eyes overcompensating at times.
Yeah.
Because there's times where the character itself will slow down for especially around the checkpoint part when you knew a checkpoint was coming up, because almost it felt like it was slowing down, but it was really just kind of getting that checkpoint up, and then it would kind of throw me off. But I have that game. I love the look of it. I laugh all the time when I miss a jump, because if I jump too soon and then he hits his chest. It's just clunk. And I'm just it's so funny because I'm just like, come on. And then the graphic of it going back to the checkpoint or the beginning is really cool.
It's a game when I screw up that I can't not comment every time I screw up. And I don't know what it is. I don't normally do that, but I'm sitting there by myself, and every time I hit something, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I vocalized it every time. That's funny that you said that.
And it's not like you're mad at the game, you're mad at yourself, because you're like, you know better than that. Come on, Sean.
It gets you deeply involved. You become very invested in what's happening on the
I did
screen
also say that, though. I was like, Sean, what is your problem?
Yes, exactly.
Now, one of the big things that BIT.TRIP does, or Gaijin Games, I should say, in their BIT.TRIP series, is this sort of layering of these elements, the visual elements, the gameplay elements, and the musical elements. And with BIT.TRIP Runner, as in the first game, your movements, basically your obstacle dodges, your grabbing of the gold, all correspond to the beats in the music going on. And so as you successfully complete things, you're adding little plinks and plonks,
which is awesome.
To the sound. Yes.
And see, that's what I was saying before. I just said, sight read the level, or peripheralize it, looking at things on the side and kind of sight reading it. It almost feels like a Guitar Hero game, or a Rock Band,
right?
Where you have a musical track, and those things are the notes. Because so you almost become to the point where once I would think that you get familiar with the game and the controls, you kind of learn almost by sound how to do things on there too. Which I would imagine that would be kind of later on in the game. You kind of get to that point the more you play. Yeah, which is awesome.
I'm looking forward to see how it develops. Like I said, I didn't progress very far.
I love that integration, though.
I think
it really plays really well, and sounds awesome when you're building that. Yeah, it almost felt like damn it, I can't remember the game now.
Fret Nice.
Not Fret Nice. I don't think so. I don't think that's what I was thinking of.
I looked that one up, it popped up or something. That's still one of the lowest rated XBLA games.
No, they had the Kinect game, and then it was the old game before that. God, I'm blanking. I'm an idiot. And I love it.
Happy Action Theater.
Children of Eden.
Children of Eden. What was their other game? The old one. Damn it!
Son of a.
Why am I an idiot?
Frenzy, frag, and fro.
I'm not.
Fraggle Rock.
No, and everybody at home is yelling at me, and I know, and I'm sorry.
It's one word. I know.
I hate myself. I love that game so much.
Rez.
Thank you. Did you know it the whole time like a douche?
No, I did not.
All right, because that would have been awesome.
I just thought of it.
If you had a tip jar, I'd put money in it. Just so you know, for future reference.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, it reminds me of that, where everything you're doing is making a musical sound, and you're kind of building the soundtrack to it. And this is a lot more low key. It's not as in your face,
right?
But it's there, and you're definitely adding to it. And as you're doing it, you become more aware of it. And I really like that.
Yeah.
I like sliding underneath the enemies as they look down. I mean, there's some of the graphics. I mean, I love that too, because on those Infinite Runner games, I tend to not pay attention. I'm paying attention to what's in front of me,
exactly.
But this one, it just seems like you got the whole. I don't know. There's something
when you
about
jump over the checkpoint, the pickle guy gets excited and starts running alongside you for a while.
I mean, there's so many cool things about it, but I know that this would, as the levels amped up, this kid would not.
But you get amped. You get better too.
But everybody says that, especially when it comes to things like Rock Band and stuff. But I get to that point.
You have a wall.
I have a wall, and it's just and it's a wall that I built a long time ago.
I feel like this is much more accessible than the first BIT.TRIP Runner was. The first BIT.TRIP Runner is a great game, but I hit a wall.
But it's hardcore.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
Well,
And
you're
I-
just saying no checkpoints, and that was a savior for this game for me.
exactly. And so I feel like I could make it a lot further. I'm very eager to see how all this stuff combines because I was combining quite a few things in the first BIT.TRIP Runner just within that first world because I think there's only 3 worlds in that one. But I'm excited to see how things progress throughout in this one. Maybe it'll make me better at, and I can go back to the first one and finish that.
It's funny when you say like the checkpoints save you. It's like literally I'll die or like hit and have to go back to the
after the checkpoint.
No, but a little bit after. But I'll go back and I'm like, I don't want to redo all that. And we're talking like what, like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Because the levels aren't long.
No, they're not.
But it's like in my head, I'm like, I got to redo everything. All 15 seconds of that. I'm such an idiot.
You should
such
just
a baby.
play better.
I should play better. So we'll have more of that next episode.
Yes.
Some more in-depth stuff.
Yes. And I'm already getting competitive with my friends on the leaderboard because there's many leaderboards that are
Good deal.
friends only, of course.
Well, that'll keep you going.
Although I'm like, how the fuck did they get 1,000,000 points on here? They probably know how to get those extra.
They
so
do.
They're perfect.
You have to come back to it.
Bastards.
Do your research.
Yes.
Come on.
So I'm very excited to play some.
Awesome. All right. XBLA, anything else we got? Or do we
I don't think anything else
run
came
around?
out.
Well, then there's Pinball FX.
Oh,
Let's
Pinball
do
FX.
it!
Star Wars tables. 800 points for the
I don't have anything to say.
3
I
packages.
might not either.
So you've got Boba Fett is one of the tables.
Yes.
Clone Wars is the other table, and Empire Strikes Back.
How does Boba Fett get his own table? Are you like inside his
He's Boba
guts?
Fett.
Everybody loves Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett. That's
He's a
what-
bounty hunter.
Wolverine got his own table. Boba Fett should get his own table.
Sorry, it's gonna be hard for me to.
Blade got a table.
Wait.
Blade got
that's a weird comparison because lots of characters
Okay.
got their own table.
I know, but Blade
There's
got
not like a Han Solo table though, is there?
I wish
Not yet.
Chewbacca.
in the cargo hold.
Ugh. Chewbacca. I would want to play Chewbacca's table for about 3
it's just
seconds.
every time you're hitting the wall, it's like,
Exactly.
And that's the way it would be.
Because I would be done with that table in about 5. Seriously, shut up.
These are the new tables. I got to play them early on, but I've been still playing them. I like them a lot. Boba Fett would be my least favorite of the 3, then followed by Empire Strikes Back, which is just kind of it's a fun table, but can have its moments. But Clone Wars is. I just have a lot more fun playing that table.
Okay.
There's a lot of just different options to it, and I just find myself. It doesn't hit that quick ball back that goes right into your middle and just into
you're
the
done.
gutter, and you're done. I found that happens a lot with the Boba Fett table. It feels like the Boba Fett table's out to cheat you.
he's hunting you.
Yeah, he is.
Whatever. Fall in a Sarlacc pit.
But that's what's cool about it. They do have the
hate Star
Sarlacc.
Wars.
They have the Sarlacc pit in there. I really like.
Is that game over then?
Game over. He gets sucked in.
You get points.
You get all the points at that point.
You get
It
points
just
for
keeps
going in
up.
there, which is awesome. Which makes no sense.
Well, then he
but-
comes back out.
Yeah, you get points for. Yeah,
I'm good.
Wait. Are you playing as Boba Fett or are you fighting against Boba Fett?
You're playing. I would assume you would be playing as him.
You're not fighting him?
because you go. Like you'll have to open up different, like the different missions.
Yeah.
So like you go through the Empire one, and then Darth Vader will send you out on a mission.
Oh,
Or-
okay. So you're doing the missions as.
Yep.
as
Or
Boba Fett.
you'll hit. There's a nice little like where the Sarlacc pit is. There's the little thing that comes out of the wall in Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace. He's
Oh,
like,
I love that part. Yeah, I love it because my wife was sitting there and she's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "That is awesome. That's
Yeah.
what that was."
Yeah, so you hit that and to activate the door to
Yeah.
make it into Jabba's palace. So which I thought was really
Nice.
neat about it. And then like Jabba sends you on, and the missions just seem like you're hitting ramps, and that's it. Like I don't know, and you gain money, but you had to hit every single ramp in a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
That's where you have the ball falling back problem kicks in, which I don't understand. You know, I don't know.
It pulls it out right to the middle, and then it falls right back down
Sometimes,
the
yeah,
middle?
because like you'll get your save, and Boba Fett will pull it back, and then it goes right down the center again.
Gotcha.
I like the Clone War one, as I talked about, was good because the missions they're actually you're fighting characters from the story, and they're showing up on the tables, so sort of like the rest of the tables have been doing. I thought the Boba Fett one was a little bit on the. I don't know. It's like
'Cause you didn't have the
simple
battles?
side.
Is that
well,
the problem?
the things weren't happening. Boba Fett just jumps across the table like 50 different times and shoots things and throws a bomb. He like blew my ball up once.
It's because I don't want to ruin anything for the Star Wars folks out there, but Boba Fett's not that fucking cool.
No, he's not. I'll agree.
He doesn't do much in the movies.
I'll agree.
And then he dies like a puss.
He just has the coolest vehicle out of all the Star Wars.
He's got that going for
That's
him.
about all he's got.
But it went on the auction block.
Potential.
Went on the auction block when he fell in that pit, that Sarlacc pit.
He put it on the auction block. Dengar's got it.
Did he?
Yeah.
What about IG-88?
No.
When he's like, I would like that.
No, he's got a cooler ride. I think Zuckus drives him around anyway.
I don't know half these people.
But
At least I'm going to say I don't.
Exactly. The Empire one's pretty good. I just haven't really kind of gotten a hold of it yet.
Okay.
Like you can activate Vader and then he grabs the ball with the Force and things like that. There's some neat little options to it. But I was hoping for like an asteroid monster to come out at some point and eat my ball or something, but that didn't happen.
Aren't you always?
I know. Usually, I like the asteroid monster. He's a good guy. But yeah, I think the table's 800 points for the three of them.
Is a no-brainer. If you like,
Yeah.
if you like pinball, it's fine. But then if you like Star Wars, duh.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. I really like the look of, because you have the Boba Fett's almost like a classic table.
Yeah.
And then you have like when they got the new age type tables, and that's like your Empire table, where they tried to spice it up, but it's almost too much.
Yeah.
Almost like your Iron Man table, it's like, oh, okay, enough ramps. And then the Clone Wars table is like that nice Zen blend that they've been doing. So
Nice.
it's a nice little
Something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So we're checking out.
I haven't gotten to spend any time with them, so that'll give you a good indicator of how busy I've been.
Yeah.
Even though it's Star Wars, I still love every pinball.
Oh, and
game.
I want to thank John for just letting me know when he beats my high score. Cause,
Oh, is he sending you a little notice?
yeah, because it's cool. Because that makes, I mean, pat on the back, buddy. There you go, buddy.
I just ignore those.
Well, it's easy
What
to.
I do is when I get those notices that somebody's beat my high score, I just unfriend them.
I'm thinking about it.
That's the easiest way. Then you jump over them again on your leaderboard. Because then they're gone.
Oh, it's done.
Yep. Who cares?
I don't think he realizes I don't really, that the points
They
are
don't
not-
care.
Oh, God. It's like, I love being like first place for a day.
You're not me.
I was like, sweet, I'm first place. Because no one else has the game of my friends.
I'm awesome.
I was for a good 20 minutes.
A couple days.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Demos?
I guess. I got
Demos?
nothing. You guys got something. You got this weird-ass game.
Omerta, City of Gangsters. I didn't remember to grab any other information from it, but it's a disc game that's coming out, set in the 1920s, 1930s. Can't remember exactly the decade. And that's right.
That's
and
right.
Now I'm going to do my review of this game in this voice. No,
Sounds great.
it's set in Atlantic City.
Hey, see?
Yes. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. Sorry, I was waiting for you to go.
Atlantic City.
I wanted to so bad again.
I know. I see it in your eyes. It's good that you took your pen back.
Sorry.
Because you'd see something else in your eyes. So you're playing as this fresh immigrant from Italy who is getting into this wonderful organized crime business that he's been hearing so much about. So basically, it's a combination of resource management, RPG, and turn-based strategy.
Okay. I've heard this before.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so there are comparisons that you can make to XCOM, Enemy Unknown, that came out recently. And I think those would be good comparisons. So when you start off, you basically answer a bunch of questions that decide what events happened in your character's life, and that helps to determine your stats for that character, and which will get you different sorts of perks and all that stuff. And I thought that was a fun way to do it. They do explain to you which one you're going to do. So if you want to min-max and you want to game it, or you want to develop a different character if you're doing a different playthrough or something like that, you can do that. Or you can just read it as stories, and you're like, yeah, my guy did this. My guy had to run away from his hometown because he slept with the local boss's wife, and is running for his life, or something like that. And so then you're a boss, and you're fresh in Atlantic City. You don't really know what's going on, and you have to kind of start. You're starting off with bootlegging. I guess that would make this 20s. You're starting off with bootlegging.
Well, it'd be the 30s, right?
30s?
Because there's 29, I think that.
That's okay.
So probably 30s.
I only remember the beginning part of it.
I only know because I watched Boardwalk Empire.
There you go. Yes,
I know all my history from television.
It's. I get the feeling that it's very Boardwalk Empire in its inspiration.
Yeah, that works. It's a good show.
Yeah, and you get henchmen, and your gang will grow as you go through different missions. And so you have different henchmen, and you're in the city, and you have like a hideout, and then there are like, when you're starting off, you basically are going to have to steal liquor from these other people who are running their own home brewing things. And so you have to do these raids on them. And a lot of missions are you're just going to send one particular character, either your boss or one of his henchmen, off to this place to go do something. A certain amount of time will progress, and then they'll come back either successful or unsuccessful, depending on maybe their stats or probably a bit of a random dice roll.
But you don't really do anything with them. You just send them off.
You just send them off.
Okay.
And it will tell you if they have a particular perk that will help out. For example, my boss was a mastermind. I built his stats so that he was cunning and all that stuff. And so that allowed him to complete missions faster. And so that's a lot of it. There are different locations, different people throughout the parts of the city. So, for example, at one point, I found like this deputy sheriff's house, and so I could either try to intimidate him or I could try to bribe him. And so you can build up different relationships with people. Because later on, I might need him to help get me out of a jam if the police are on me, because later you do start to get these police meters as you're building more facilities. Like you build this pizza place, which helps out for something, I can't exactly remember what, but also terrifies the local population a little bit, so the police become more wary, because rumors start spreading that this is a hideout for gangsters.
It's a front.
Yeah. I had a couple speakeasies, and you have to knock out other speakeasies either by buying them out or by scaring them off so that they don't steal business from your speakeasy. So there's a lot of this management stuff.
Yes.
And then there will be times where you have to go into a battle. And so then you decide which members of your gang you're going to bring along, and they all have different weapons and different specialties and things like that. And then it's the turn-based strategy game, and very similar to kind of like XCOM, except this is more of a grid-based one. Rather than the completely free movement. But you send guys into cover. You have a lot of choices, actually. This one is a little different because with XCOM it was very rigid. You can move a certain amount of distance or not, and then you could attack. And basically, once you attack, then you lose your ability to move. This still has that sort of, you do a lot of actions and you're going to lose your ability to move, so it's best to move first. But this has actual action points, and so you can choose different abilities, and they're going to use up your action points in different amounts. For example, my boss was a specialist with a knife, I think because I chose the knife as like he was in a duel back in Italy, and that's the weapon he chose to use. And so he was close combat primarily. However, if I opened up like this action wheel, I think using one of the triggers or the shoulder buttons, then I can make a choice, and one of the choices was to throw a knife, so I could get a short distance attack on there as well as I was making my way up there. And so there's lots of those different choices. There's lots of status effects you can put on people, or they can put on you. And for example, brawlers, the close combat stuff, you might think, well, that's stupid because everyone's just going to shoot you. But the close combat stuff often inflicts a lot more status effects. Like the knife often causes them to bleed, and so then they'll take extra damage every turn. Or, I had some dude run up to me with like a baseball bat, I think, and like gave me a concussion. Which then reduced the total amount of like points that I could use for that character per turn while they're addled. Yeah, there's like a lot to it, and so then I had to try to figure out how to heal that guy because that stayed with him for a while. Like he kept his concussion for a while. One dude broke his arm, and it took a while for it to heal.
Awesome.
And so there's a lot of depth into this, and then the characters are kind of progressing, and you can buy them new perks every time they level up. And so there seems like there's a ton to this game. And now you guys know, normally I am pretty adverse to a lot of gangster themed things, things that promote gangsters primarily as the central characters.
Because of your own experiences.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to talk about it.
Back in the 30s.
Yeah.
Your family that came from Italy.
Yes. And they burned down our bootlegging.
They roughed up they ended your bootlegging.
They did.
And your
I was
speakeasy.
very sad.
Your family speakeasy.
Yes. My family speakeasy. We had it in the parlor. No, I just don't typically like those kinds of stories. But I really was getting into this game. Like, there is a lot to do, and I liked how much you could go into sort of investigating this little world, or you could just kind of play it on its surface, play it as a game if you wanted to, and you'd be pretty successful.
How does it look, graphic-wise, style, in comparison to XCOM?
It's isometric.
Okay.
And, well, most of the time you're just looking at the city, and so you can kind of zoom in and out of that, and you're hovering above the buildings, and the buildings are kind of small, but you have a little mini-map that indicates areas of interest. They're like informants you can go talk to, and they'll point out more areas of interest in the area.
Cool.
But yeah, otherwise you go in and it's an isometric view. You can't spin it around. It does. I don't think, or maybe you can. I can't remember now.
Okay.
It's been a few days since I played it. But it's a similar kind of setup, like XCOM or those other sort of turn-based strategy
Looks nice
games.
though.
It looks
graphic-wise?
it looks pretty good. Yeah, it's more pulled out than say XCOM is. So your characters are a little tinier. So there's not maybe as much detail on them, but everything looks very nice and it works pretty well. And
Cool.
Yeah, I could tell. You could usually tell when a shot was going to be blocked already. And that's another thing. It doesn't give you percentages or anything like that. Now you can still miss. But you know, it's basically going to either give you the option to shoot at that dude or not give you the option to shoot at that dude. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And management wise, did you find it was on the same level? Because the only thing I can really relate this to is XCOM. So
there was a lot more management than in XCOM.
Oh, really?
Well,
but was there not the pressure that you felt in XCOM?
No,
because
no.
I was always under a time pressure in XCOM where I was like, I'm all backed up.
Most of the time it's like, oh, we need to make this much money, or you know, we need to get our business running, and so
you have like a goal that you work
take your time
towards.
to do it. Yeah, and you don't even have to go straight towards that. Now, as you start to gain police attention, then that adds a little bit of pressure if you're not attending to that and trying to mitigate that. But you know, there's things like you can, and you're basically making relationships with everybody too, even like other alcohol producers in the area. So you can have good relationships or bad ones with them. Like I was getting bad ones because I kept raiding people. But you know, you could, because you can choose to like be a supplier for this speakeasy.
Yeah,
you know, you can send them alcohol, and they're going to be buying things from you. There's like so many different options for what you can do for the management side, and you don't, other than things that are mission specific, you don't have to do everything.
Okay, good. Cool. Because in XCOM was a lot of things where it came up and I wasn't ready for what it needed. And so your option is to just not do it.
No.
And then you're like, well, that's it.
You can bite off more than you can chew, but you usually know when you're doing that.
Okay.
Like there was one mission that I could choose to go fight something for. Like a local area boss was getting pissed off that we had kind of moved into the area. And so I could kind of appease him by going on this mission instead. And so I went on this mission knowing that two of my dudes had like serious injuries still. And so that didn't turn out so well. but that was more my fault. So, you know,
Boss, you sure we should be going? Shut up or I'll break your other arm.
Exactly.
Boss, I don't know about this.
Get in the car. I don't pay you to think.
I had one. That was a mission where I was sent to go fight the Klan, actually.
Oh, well, fuck them. I mean, they deserve it. So you should have taken that risk.
Well, they beat me.
Well,
unfortunately,
they are the Klan. Sorry.
They did have a lot of shotguns,
Ugh.
and they bottlenecked me in a hall. I did not plan that out. I did not plan that out well because, like, I started that mission, and so there was a doorway right away, and I just decided to do that. But I could have gone like around the building and looked for other entrances into that area. You can shoot people in through windows and stay outside.
But you get to go kick the Klan's ass, or try to?
Yes,
I'm all in.
Yes.
This is awesome.
So there's a lot to like. This was not on my radar before, but it definitely is now.
Cool. A lot to like in addition to killing Klan members.
Yes, in addition to that, right?
I mean, that should be on the box.
That's like
first.
the gravy.
That should be a bullet point. Sorry, I don't mean to offend all the Klan members in our audience.
Yes.
But you're an asshole if you are. So there. You don't have my sympathy, sorry.
But I liked it a lot. I recommend checking out the demo at least. It's a pretty beefy demo, too.
Cool. Sounds like it. I mean, it sounds like you had a lot to say about it, so that's good.
Nice.
I want to check it out now. I'm excited.
Do it.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I don't pay you to think. I don't know. All right. Any other demos, or are we moving on to discs?
I think that's it for me for demos.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we have a couple things to touch back on. I don't know who wants to kick it off.
I'll do it with Colonial Marines.
You gonna do some
Let's
aliens?
get that off.
All right,
I'll get it off my chest.
Colonial Marines.
The Colonial Marines.
Colon Marines.
Craig's talk about it on last show was pretty spot on. I mean, there's a lot of the things I kind of got into the story, like the locations and all that kind of stuff. It was very, calling back to aliens mostly. Right. I mean, that was what it was calling back to. But
Did you do a bunch of killing?
yeah,
Did you do a bunch of pregnating?
I did it a lot of let's rockin'. I was like, let's rock.
What about pregnating?
No, I did not. I had my face almost did a couple of times, but
Get pregnated?
almost.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, the gameplay wise, I wasn't a big fan of. I didn't really, like especially speaking of the face huggers, those things I hated even dealing
They're a
with
pain in the ass to shoot, aren't
because
they?
you couldn't see them.
And they just jump around the room.
Yeah, and you could.
It's nice if you had a flamethrower.
You could hear them, but you couldn't see them. So like every time I saw an egg, I just shot it.
Yes.
And
Precisely.
I picked up Hudson's shotgun.
Yeah.
I forgot about the legendary weapons. Yeah.
Pretty early on.
Yeah.
That was I only had 2 shotguns the whole game.
That's what you relied on.
That's all you used?
I never was able to get another. I couldn't switch to a machine gun.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I kept going up to the whatchamacallit and like adding on, upgrading.
Yeah.
But no matter what time, every time I go to select a weapon, it was shotgun, pistol.
Oh, you gotta. That's because you assign a primary and a secondary weapon.
Yeah.
So you have to assign it. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I went through trying to find it. Maybe I didn't assign it.
You
completely.
hold down a button.
It's weird.
Is it
It's
Y or something?
Something like that, and it brings up the wheel or the selector.
And it's a pain in the ass
It
because
is.
a lot of times I go to switch to a weapon that's not one of my selected weapons, and I'll do it wrong. And so, because if you push the joystick back, then it backs out.
Yeah.
But if you have it highlighted and you let go of the Y button as you do that, then it selects it. But it would toggle around.
Yeah.
Then maybe I couldn't get it right then because all I had was the
You
two.
should replay it.
Well, all I had was but wait, I only had the
With
2
machine.
shotguns.
You didn't need anything else.
That was all I needed.
Right.
The whole entire
that legendary shotgun is like you pick it up at the beginning, and that was the thing that was one hit killing everything.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you
across the room.
You could take out an alien
pretty
with 2
good.
shots across the room, or let him get close to you and take him out with 1.
Right.
But I never had a problem with when it came to ammo. I like picking up the smart gun or like the flamethrower was.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them here and there.
RPG.
Those were fun to play, but when you can get back to it and just go through the whole thing with a shotgun, it leads. Then I'm like, okay. So
It's a very simple game.
yeah, and I think that was why I was like, I'm gonna sit through it and play it.
Yeah.
And when I got to that end part, and I was like, oh my gosh, this story's so messed up. So I'm glad that
Sean,
it will get fixed.
It's a long story.
I know it's a long story.
and we're gonna fix it.
And we're gonna
Yes,
fix it.
yes.
And I can't wait. But
I can't either.
we
have to.
But as it comes,
Son of a bitch.
We have to wait.
but
I'm
as it
sitting
comes,
here waiting for that. God damn it.
Well, keep waiting.
but gameplay wise, very simple, very easy. I didn't even dive into the multiplayer of it. That was not what was up my alley. But the story wasn't terrible, but it just got very well. It got to that point where I'm like, duh. But up until then, I'm like, I'm kind of digging this. They could have went the Hicks route. Maybe they found him, in the alien catacombs.
Hey, man. You
know?
couldn't get Bill Paxton to do
know.
the voice work.
Of
he
course.
was in there.
Huh?
He was on a wall
Oh gosh.
in the sewers level.
Yeah.
He wanted him coming back.
Yeah. I mean that story would have even worked as much as this other one. So I don't.
And then he shows up and he's like, "Game on, man!"
Yeah, and he's all loaded
Came
up.
on.
Like Wayne's World. He runs out like, "Game on,
Game on.
man!"
But if you
You know what
you
he
need to
would've-
rent, you need to rent this.
You know
game
that's how
and
they
just
would have
play
wrote it if he showed up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they would have thought it was hilarious.
Yes.
All right.
But it was neat finding finding those little things like finding A-palms, dog tags or like Vasquez's handgun and the corporal's handgun. Those kind of things.
But
throughout
you don't
the
find
game.
that like cheesy? Like, I find some of that sometimes it's like they just throw it in there like, oh, it's a little too on the nose.
I would have liked them had them been in like the areas where they actually were in the movies.
Right, so it just becomes an empty like, well, fans know this. You remember that? This is that.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And then it unlocks a quote for you.
Don't worry that the rest of the game is kind of shitty because it's got that thing you remember.
But it is. The gameplay is terrible on it.
I don't see the problem.
You can just you can just walk through it on an easy level. So it's. I mean, it's
an experience.
You can play it hard and walk through it.
Well, yeah.
With a shotgun.
But yeah, the thing that I was just using the shotgun the whole entire time. So yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to touch back on Metal Gear Rising. I want to say Solid. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I finished out the game. It's not very long. I think that they must not count your, not necessarily the replays, like when you die and have to replay a section, because it is fairly forgiving with the checkpoints. I like the checkpoint system actually it had in the game, for the most part. But it must not count the cutscenes, because it said my final end time playing was like less than 5 hours.
Probably not. I don't think.
Because it felt like it was the longest fucking 5 hours of my life, if that was the case. Because I felt like I was playing a ton, but there's a lot of long cutscenes.
I don't think
Gear
Asura's as Wrath counts the cutscenes either.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with that. I hope that that's not the case, because otherwise it was some kind of black hole of time that I was in because it was not adding properly. The bosses.
You were caught in daylight savings time loop.
It might have been, because I finished, I think, at 4 hours and 50 minutes of play through the game. But again, give yourself some more time from that with the cutscenes, which there are plenty that you can't skip. None of them skip. None of them skip. You know what? I'm wrong.
One skips.
I didn't think that they skipped, but I think you pause it and it gives you an option to skip it.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no buttons that would do it.
Right.
You just have to pause it. So
I've seen that as a bigger option.
I corrected
these
myself.
days. Good job.
Caught myself. Yay! I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. It was fun. The only thing I had the bosses get insane. Some of those boss battles get just crazy.
Then you have to have them institutionalized.
I wish. And then they do a thing halfway through the game where you got to rebattle like 2 or 3 bosses, and that was annoying as fuck. But other than that, I had a blast with it.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of camera problems. You would get sometimes in some tight quarters, and you'd have enemies that kind of were off camera, and you couldn't get around to them. I mean, there's no target lock on, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Especially when you're facing like 10 people, and so you'll have a guy that's coming in, and sometimes you're having to use that parry to like block their attacks that we talked about last episode. And they do a much better job explaining it and putting it to use in the full game than they did in the demo. But when you can't see them making the attack from off the screen and they just run at you, a lot of times you're just spamming the parry thing, which is your attack button and the direction at the same time. So you kind of have an idea where they're at and aiming that way until you can get the camera fixed. And then the very last battle was really the only time I had a problem in the game. I got stuck and I had to actually look something up online, and I was pissed. Like, you had to do this certain. At one point, the boss would stop and throw this thing at you, and you had to do your slice thing, your manual slice.
Yeah.
And you had to hit it in these certain points, and I could never get it to hit, and one hit kills you.
Yeah.
And so I would have to redo it, and I did it like 10 times, and I was so mad. Like, because I knew it was the end of the game. And I'm like, I am done. I just got to do this. Why can't I cut this thing? Why can't I do it?
Why can't I live up to my potential?
What I found...
You had to go to the second controller?
I didn't have to go to the second controller. That's old school. I know. What are you doing? That's funny.
That is funny. The second controller.
Set it down. I'm going to move it with my mind.
Oh, that is good stuff.
All right. So what had happened is that when I was going into the free mode for the slice thing, my camera angle was off. Now, I talked before about how it kind of seemed like it was much better this time around than it was in the demo, where I wasn't going crazy with the camera angle. But this one, you did have to adjust the camera angle just slightly to have it cut the right way. And so the default that it gave you was just not level enough on the camera angle. So once I did that, I'm like, oh, got it. But I couldn't figure it out because I hadn't had to rely on it until up until that point of the game.
Right.
Like, it had been pretty okay, angle wise. So that I got through that and then finished the game.
So get the angle of the dangle squared away early on in Revengeance.
Yes.
So then, okay.
The angle of the dangle. No, I'm not. No, never mind. I'm not going to go with that.
The hypotenuse of the dangle. Come on.
The angle of the dangle is directly proportional to the heat of the meat. I think that's the saying, isn't it?
It is.
All right. See, I wasn't going to say it, and then he had to.
But I don't want to say heat of the meat.
Heat
so
of
that's
the
why
meat.
I don't say it.
You can't beat our meat.
That else.
Now we're just going to do this.
How is this any different?
I don't know. I don't have any. Once I also figured out in the game, because you pick up all these. We talked about when we talked about the demo. We talked about the items you pick up, like the secondary weapons and things like that. And you can unlock. You do get points that you can spend towards unlocks for like increasing your health and your armor and things like that. And there are secondary weapons that you can also purchase that are from all the big bosses that you take down. You can use their weapons. Never really did anything with that. I just stuck with my own sword, which I tend to do in these kind of games. But when you pick up those secondary weapons, they're not easy to use because you got to hit like a bumper button to activate it. And I think we talked about like the RPG back in the demo where it was like not convenient to use those secondary weapons at all. But there are other supportive things you pick up, like healing things, healing gels or whatever, and you can set those that they automatically get used. Once I figured that out, that was a walk in the park because it autofills all your health when you get when you normally die, and you can have like 5 of those stockpiled.
Nice.
So it took
And
me
you can
like
steal them from a lot of enemies, right?
Well, yeah, from the enemies you can also do a certain attack where. If you kind of stun them enough or do enough damage, you can do your slice motion and slow down time, and you hack them all up, and then you can hit the B button and pull out their spine, and that refills all your health automatically as well.
And
Love that in an action
Finish
game.
him.
I think actually, sometimes he makes little comments, and I think one of them might be something like that. So. Or like finished. So he makes jackass comments all the time, but so that's also awesome in an action game when you can like instantly automatically like refill your entire health.
Yeah.
And that saves your ass in a lot of cases. And I really like that about the game because it kept it moving. And I was playing on normal the whole way through and I really didn't die very often. And it was because of things like that you could have things that refilled your health, and it was really cool. And once I set that up on those automatic things you picked up, that became another thing where you didn't have to worry about it anymore. You were always going to get life back. So cool. I recommend it. It like I said, it's a quick game to run through and have fun with. The camera angle's really the only thing that was holding it down for me. Other than that, it's a fun action adventure hack and slash game. So
nice.
Check it.
Check it out.
Check it.
I played some more of Anarchy Reigns, which we talked about last episode. Completed the story, which continues to be ludicrous. It doesn't really quite find the balance that I wished it would, but I was getting better at the game. I was not nearly as far along as I thought I was, because once you finish one campaign, you immediately start the other campaign. And then once you finish both, then you have like additional missions.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I had quite a bit left to play. So I finished it, and it was really, really growing on me. I mean, I liked it when I talked about it last time, but it grew on me a lot more. And I was actually getting a little better. I was doing a little less just random button mashing. For some guys, I still was, but but particularly when I was against bosses, it was a little more in control. I jumped online to try out some of the multiplayer stuff. My first experience was to try to find player match, the non-ranked ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing popped up, and so then I went to the ranked match ones, and ended up getting dropped into a cage, literally, with this other dude who apparently has been sitting there all day, just like waiting for challengers to come into these cage matches. Because it's one of the modes that you can do is a one-on-one cage match.
Yeah.
Was it like in Return of the Jedi when Luke gets put into the Rancor pit?
Pretty much.
The guy pretty much
comes out, and then he comes out and he wastes me, like obliterates me, and so then I'm like, okay, all right, let's see what's going on here. So then I choose a different character. He's of course using the same, or he or she, I suppose. This guy,
that's right.
This person is using the same character, and probably uses that character solely.
Yeah,
and has a pretty, And so then I used a different character, and I kind of sussed out some of the things that he was doing. Like he would commonly,
you cased him.
Yeah, I did a little bit from
Nice.
the first battles, and so then plus I had a new guy, and it had. I chose this guy who has like these ranged attacks, and then can leap, far distances, so I can close the gaps pretty quickly. And so I took him a little off guard and like actually did some damage, like brought him down to below half before he killed me. And then I switched up one more time and brought in this big brawler guy who could like do these charge grabs to pick people up. And I almost got him,
but you didn't.
No, and then I kind of gave up on the last one and just let him beat me up.
Gotcha.
And because I'm like, all right, I'm done with this.
You should have rage quit.
No,
Just quit.
No,
It'd been funny if you made him rage
I do
quit.
the passive aggressive rage quit where I just stand the character there. So
Do you think even though he won,
because I get the points too, I get experience points.
oh, that's good.
for
So you at least
finishing.
get something out of it.
Yeah.
Do you think even though he won, do you beat him down at any? Do you think that
I think
made him mad?
He was getting fearful, I think, like because he stopped doing the things that he was always doing, like
He went into
especially in that
defense
last
mode?
one. Yeah, like he kind of freaked out a couple.
He was probably
times.
pissed off at home.
Probably
This fucking guy.
What? You're the big transformer guy now? Oh yeah, let's go. Oh ah! Oh, I'm hoping that's what was happening. But then you're an idiot. Then I jumped back over to player match and I found a giant, open death match that was going on, which
Nice.
had like a dozen people in it.
Nice.
And it was fantastic. That was a lot more fun because I was still getting my ass handed to me a lot of times.
But it's a lot. In that scenario, I would think it's a lot easier to handle because you're not dealing on a one-on-one scenario where just
Exactly.
one guy's just pounding.
So
on
there's
you.
like 3 dudes having a fight, and I jump in there and punch somebody in the back of the head, and
you can at least fuck stuff up.
exactly. And everybody was talking, and it seemed like everybody was having a good time, and it wasn't like hyper aggressive, like, oh, I'm gonna beat you down. It was
I'm gonna find out where you live and kill
people
you.
playing the game. Yeah, and I think some of the random things were still kind of happening a little bit.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, like in the
Like with the
campaign.
truck running through and everything.
I think so. I can't quite remember now.
I think that stuff does happen.
Power-ups were jumping up as well, and and then when we finished, then there were a lot of like bonus tiers, like you get in the multiplayer games. And I actually got a couple of them, and I wasn't last place. And,
Nice.
Everybody was saying, yeah, nice job when someone's name came up for like most kills or something like that. And so it was really friendly and really kind of fun. And I'm like, I could jump back into this. This is cool. I haven't done it yet, but I think I might.
That's cool.
And then, so since I finished the game on normal, I decided, and they have achievements for beating it on hard, I decided to jump in with hard, and I started with the white route instead of the black route like last time, and I can't make it past the first boss because it is fucking insanely hard. Oh my god.
So it's not just a clever title.
Oh my god, it is so hard. Now, granted, lots of parts of playing on normal were pretty difficult as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, I felt like I was getting better and I could handle things. And I'm like, okay, I went into it saying, I'm not going to be an expert at this. It's hard. It's going to be more difficult. But I have a bit more skill now. I think I know how to do
Especially
this.
these early levels.
And then
I'm gonna hang.
Yes. And it's tough because you can't progress without completing these story missions, and that's where the bosses are. And it's that guy who has the ranged attacks that I was talking about. That's how I knew about him, because he was kicking my ass in normal pretty badly. And it's tough. I would like lose against him like 4 times and then I'd quit and all that. What's nice though, one thing that I like that I didn't quite realize before is that the game basically saves your state before you go into any mission. So if you fail a mission, then it reloads basically you come back out and you have everything that you had before.
That's nice.
And when you go
good.
into a mission, like say you have your rage meter built up, you'll keep that rage meter built up when you go into the mission so you can use it in the mission. But it heals you. And you'll keep your items. So you keep all the good stuff, but it boosts you a little bit otherwise.
Nice.
And then if you lose, then you come back out and you still have all that shit. So you can just jump right back. If that's the kit that you want to go in with, then you can jump right back in there with that same stuff, and you don't have to run around trying to recollect everything
nice.
and build up your meters. Yeah, that was I liked that feature quite a bit.
A legit checkpoint before it.
Yes.
Yeah, those are always the ones where you had to replenish all your supplies, then find the checkpoint, and then go back to that. And then you're like, well, which save was that? Because you'd have 4 saves, and you're like, oh, crap.
Yes. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed a lot of the multiplayer stuff. I prefer the player matches rather than,
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's a lot of different modes, too. I only got to try out 2 different modes. Cool. But yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Well, I checked out a little bit of Crysis 3. Sean, I know you looked at the multiplayer, the beta that they had out.
Yeah.
I did not do any of the multiplayer. I only played some of the single player. And I didn't... Time became an issue. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. And it looks great. The game looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you saw that in the multiplayer too. But the natural environments, because you're kind of in... it's New York City, but it's been overtaken with
because you're in a dome, I believe.
Yeah, that everything's being controlled by. And so or protected by. But there's vegetation everywhere. There's plants everywhere,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of just an overgrown city. It looks amazing, like when you're going through all the grass and stuff, and it's kind of eye level with you in some areas when you're crouching down. So the game looks fantastic. I really like the stuff with the nano suit. I love the stealth mode. I use that all the time. The addition of the bow this time around, because I played a little bit of Crysis 2 last year, the year before, a couple years now.
A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
a couple years.
The bow is awesome. I love using that with the silent kill and being able to take people out and kind of lead people over to where you want them to be.
Yep.
I like being able to reclaim all your arrows. I like, when you do the stuff with your visor where you can see everything around and you can kind of tag everybody and you can see through walls and tag them all. So it's awesome to go into an area and kind of just throw that on and tag everybody, including weapons. So when you would shoot an arrow and like it would get stuck in a wall, you can find where it's at because you'll see it on your visor. And so I like being able to replenish all that stuff manually and take out guys. It's fun. I liked going into those areas and kind of just clearing rooms in a stealth kind of way. It lost a little bit of fun for me because as you progress through the game, you get a couple levels in and they start adding in the other alien elements.
Yeah.
Those things were not as fun for me. Like it was because you have to rely on the gun battling, and I didn't have fun with shooting in the game at all. I had a lot of fun with using the bow and arrow. And I thought that was a great addition. But once you have to go into the shooting mode, and a lot of that, the alien interaction you had early on, at least, was in those high grass situations, and they were under the grass basically, so you could never see them coming at you until they were right on top of you. Yeah, and they seemed nonstop, like it just seemed endless. So a lot of times I got to the point where I was just running through the area, not even fighting anybody because it was annoying. Yeah. And they could see through you, like your stealth. Like I was trying to do the stealth thing, and they would still come at me. So I don't know if they could see through or what was going on. But that, I don't know. When I was dealing with the people, and you could kind of stalk the people and hunt them, that was a lot more fun to me than being hunted yourself. Yeah, and it being just overwhelming. They also threw in this time around, I don't think it was in the last game, the hacking. I don't know if they had any of that in multiplayer. I don't know if that comes into effect.
I don't think so.
But there is hacking options as well. So there's turrets that are around that you can hack. And by hacking them and doing a little easy mini game, it turns them, basically you hack into them and take control, and it shoots anybody that's around there. Yeah. There's also little minefields that you can hack those as well. So you turn the mines to not being triggered by enemies and not by you. So you can walk over them, but then you can lead enemies onto the minefields, and then they blow up because they should be protected. And then there's, of course, like getting into doors and things like that use it as well.
Those kinds of things remind me of Dishonored.
Yeah, where you can turn them around. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's these little drop points that you can use to get like your suit upgrades, because you can do a bunch of different perks for your suit. Yeah. Add in those, and there's a bunch of different combos that you can use. And you can save combinations, which is really handy. So you have these loadouts. You can have up to 3, I think. And you can use those loadouts and load them really quickly, depending on the situation that you're in. I really do. I love this about 2, and I love it about this one as well, is the changing of the weapons on the fly. Yeah. As far as upgrading them, because it's all happens in real time. So the stealth element is so heavy that you kind of get times where you're kind of hidden and you're holding back a little bit. But if you're in the shit and stuff's going down, it is still easy while you're getting shot. You can do it quickly, but with the Y button you can hold, or I think it's holding down the Y button. Maybe it was a bumper button. Maybe it was the back button. I can't remember now. One button, you bring up basically your equipment. Yeah. But nothing pauses. Everything's still going on. But you can kind of quickly with the Y, B, X button change the settings on your gun. So like the Y would be your scope, for instance, because I don't know if that matches up exactly. And one would be your barrel. One would be like the kind of the bullet firing speed or whatever it would be. You can change all those on the fly. So with just a quick clip of those buttons, you can switch it to whatever kind of gun you need to have for those situations. Really handy, really quick, and a neat way to do it without being like overly complicated, going into a bunch of different menus and setting things up. It's just really easy. I love how they handle it in there. Voice acting is fantastic in the game. I was running into some performance issues, but I've been having problems with my Xbox, so I don't know if that was the problem. Because once I put the game onto my hard drive, which I've been doing more because I've had problems with my Xbox.
Right.
So I've been burning them ripping them onto my hard drive and playing them off of there. Once I did that, I had no more problems.
Okay.
But I had some sound issues in one of the levels as it was loading, and like it was really staticky and cutting out and went away completely.
Weird.
Which is when I stopped and kind of just went out and burned it onto my hard drive and then played it off of that, and it was fine thereon. So I'm assuming it was my Xbox problem and not the game problem. But that's pretty much it. I had a good time with it, but as you know, as it got increased with those number of aliens, I just stopped having fun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, and other things came up like Tomb Raider.
Yep.
So, and that was a much more fun experience for me. So, I kind of moved off of this one that was a more run and gun first person shooter kind of thing, which I'm limited in what I can do with that anyway sometimes. So, I don't know. I recommend checking it out. Obviously, if you like that kind of game, the Nano Suit's fun to mess around with and do a bunch of the different things. But
how does it compare to Vanquish? That's a real question.
It's better than Vanquish. How
What?
about that?
Oh,
Sorry.
I have my doubts.
I don't know about that one.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm interested in checking it, just maybe checking it out. I kind of wish they would have had the demo of the regular just gameplay and not the multiplayer. So because I would like to just try that section out, because the multiplayer just ended up upsetting me more. So then it did make me want to rent it. So
and like I said, the biggest thing I liked about it was the bow edition.
Yeah.
And then Tomb Raider came out.
Yeah.
And it did kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I have fun with it in there, so I didn't need to play Crysis anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how about some Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider.
Let's talk about Tomb Raider.
Let's.
Starting with the bow there. There are a couple achievements for getting kills with the other weapons that you gain throughout the game.
Oh, are there achievements in this game?
Yeah. If you work at it.
Seriously. I was like 4 hours in or something. I'm like, are there fucking achievements for this game?
Yeah. Well, here, let me just state this first one, because they were obviously trying to encourage you to use your other weapons rather than just the bow, which is what I was doing if I left to my own devices. But then it was a terrible idea. Like, I'd sneak into this area. I'm like, okay, well,
Right.
I'm going to alert this other dude, when I fire my gun, obviously, but I can shoot this one guy and, I'll get a headshot on him and then I'll just take him out. And then it's like a stupid, massive firefight.
Because everybody instantly knows where you're at.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and I think they all get the same upgrades that your gun does. Like,
do they really?
I think they progress at the same level. I don't know, because like I got to this one point where I was just getting shot by these dudes, and I'm like, do they have a mounted gun or something? No, they were carrying just like the assault rifles and stuff, and they're mowing me down.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, Tomb Raider's back.
Yeah, it is.
Back to its beginning, I guess.
Yeah, this is a prequel, right?
Yeah,
to
basically.
everything, setting up her whole start.
Yeah, and there are some nice homages later on. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like your traditional Tomb Raider game.
No.
through
Thankfully,
most of it.
which is why I like it, because I will say I was never a Tomb Raider fan.
Yeah.
I hated Tomb Raider.
Ah.
And I think part of it was the character design.
Well, sure.
That was part of it, because I was never into that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the gameplay at all. Like, I could never get into Tomb Raider at all.
See, I was a big. I like the Tomb Raider.
I played the
games.
first two, and I liked them quite a bit. I heard they slid quite a bit
They did.
in afterwards.
Yeah,
but-
the first two, and then it kind of started, going downhill. And,
and so
This one's much more my speed.
there are some homages to things,
Yeah.
and so it does kind of towards the end synchronize somewhat with some of the more standard Tomb Raider tropes, and ultimately the whole thing, I like the game a lot. So it's kind of, but it's got this split.
Have you finished it yet?
I finished it.
Okay,
yes.
I haven't
did,
yet.
I did finish it. I'm not even talking about the story. I'm not even talking about the end. I'm talking about just throughout the whole game. It's got this kind of split to it, where it feels like it's going in two different directions, and you have to make a choice because you can't choose both. Or at least you have to go back and forth between the two of them, where there's all this survival stuff, this heavy emphasis on survival, right? And making this really gritty and really gruesome, and it's all about survival. And then there's the run around and explore shit and find, all this hidden stuff. And the two things do not work together. Let me illustrate you a story.
Yes.
So I started off
Please
the
do.
game, Start off the game, and I'm like, it's a little grim, blah blah blah. But I had seen that stuff in the trailer, so I was expecting it. But I was kind of getting into, Laura gets the shit beat out of her constantly,
all the time,
falls down all the time. She gets beat to hell all the time, and so that happens very early on in the game, like right when you start. She gets pretty badly beaten. And so, me, I love the role play aspect a lot of times. And so I was really getting into that. And so, even when you're going down this very linear path to like where you find the first campsite, you could run, but I was like making her walk and like look around fearfully every once in a while. I was really getting into it.
Sure.
She gets to the campsite and she's shivering because she's just got, her little tank top shirts on, and, it's nighttime and she's completely wet. And so I'm like, it was like really immersing me into this survival aspect of it. And then like she says, I got to find some food. And so, I got to get a weapon first. Then you get your bow, and then you have to hunt down a deer. And so then I'm like, and the deers run away if you make too much noise. And so I'm really getting into this whole aspect, and I'm like trying to be a savvy hunter. And I finally down the deer, and I get down there. And so like, then she's, says, I'm really sorry to the deer, and like she doesn't want to get into it. And she has to stab it with the arrow and like cut stuff out. And then she stands back up, and the deer's lying on the ground. You get no food. You get no hide. You get 15 experience points as a little meter pops up and it progresses.
Right.
And then she says, I got to get back to, I got to go cook this food. And I'm like, what food?
Yeah.
What food is there? There's no food here. I don't actually have to eat. And then I see 2 more deer, and I'm like, fuck going back to the camp. I'm going to go get some more experience points. And at that point, I stopped caring about...
Now you're mass murderer all of a sudden.
Well, now I'm playing the game. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about. They really try to build some atmosphere, and I think they do some very nice things to build the atmosphere throughout. And, create a story and an interesting world, and they do all that. And then they have all their open world stuff that is so enticing, and it's just like, just go do shit and get points for it.
Right.
And the points will get you new
Go
abilities.
kill things.
Go find boxes so you can upgrade your objects.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, you need to get over to here. And I'm like, but there's a relic over here. There's a tomb. I'm going to go check out this tomb, actually.
Yeah.
Don't die.
I'm almost dead.
Don't die. Okay.
You're almost
I'll
dead.
be right back. I got to go open this chest. I'll get a map. The map is going to be great. Okay.
I'm a Tomb Raider. Hello. Yeah, I had that same problem at the beginning because, or that same disjointedness at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what it's not a problem.
It's very, they set up this whole thing, and it becomes clear afterwards that it's all a tutorial on how to use the bow and to kind of get you to do that stuff. But it's set up as a survival kind of thing where you're going to need to do this to like survive. And then after you do it, there's no other resolution other than they were showing you how to like look for things and to see things and to shoot your arrow carefully.
Yes.
And because then there's animals running around all over, and there's really no reason to kill any other animal in the rest of the game that I found. That I've played so far.
Other experience points.
Yeah, other than experience points. So
and achievements.
Right. So
that's why you didn't get achievements.
So they're
hunting achievements.
Well, I've gotten one now, but it took a while to get any of those achievements. Seriously, like what game doesn't have them for like chapters at this point?
Yeah, that's true.
And I look, and there's so many on multiplayer too.
There are a ton on multiplayer.
They're
really pushing the multiplayer, I think, to make sure people don't sell the game after.
Right.
I mean, that's really the reason why they do these things, right? Because I didn't care for the combat so much.
I've had a lot of fun with the bow. I love using the bow.
Yeah, but you're stealthing most of that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. If you get into an actual firefight, it's fucking shit.
It is.
It's not great.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like the third-person shooting, and I've done lots of third-person shooting. I played tons of Max Payne 3. But for some odd reason, whenever I go to aim, like, when I zoom in... Well, one thing, you can't shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
And so you always have to go into the aim. And the aim throws you off to the side, and suddenly my target is off. There's literally one thing where... I had aimed it and then gone out of the aim, and I went back and it had reset the aim to someplace else. Ugh. And so, I mean, the biggest place where I noticed it was the shotgun, because the shotgun was. I'm like, I'll use this when people get up close, which is ass, because you have to go into the aim and then you're off to the side, and so then they're not in your center.
You can't just shoot like
I can't just shoot at them. Yeah, and so. I don't know. I was having a lot of trouble with the gunfights, and I felt like they went on for so long. I mean,
there are a couple areas where there's like a lot of people.
There's like 8,000 people living on this goddamn island, and I must have killed 7,000 of them.
It's getting a lot of comparisons to Uncharted, obviously, with the way that they've done, and it is it's an Uncharted light. I mean, I still think Uncharted ultimately looks better. This game looks great. I think it does look really good. But it's that same scenario where in Uncharted you would fall into the worst fucking gunfights ever.
Would you?
And they're just like so many, and like you would have to. I haven't had anything as bad in this game as I've had with Uncharted.
Yeah.
There's been some things in Uncharted where you're like want to murder people because it's one guy with a fucking rocket launcher across the level that's killing you nonstop.
Yeah.
But so I haven't had that yet with this.
No.
But you do run into those masses of people where you got to like mow everybody down, and it's kind of annoying.
And they build a scramble button for you.
The B button,
if you press
does
the
a
B
dodge,
button, yeah, you can it's not a full dodge, but it's a partial dodge. And later you can get it to combo with things, so you can like throw dirt in people's faces or do counter moves. Those work pretty well, but the scramble itself is it's really difficult to use because you press it and she'll just go in some random direction and the camera will spin and I'll lose track of like everybody that I'm fighting with.
Yeah. I like the upgrade system.
The upgrade system is nice
because you know as you get experience points, you do get upgrades that you can unlock at camps, and put it into different areas. And I like that there's different tiers. So you know you need certain because it makes you spread things out, which I really liked. And I like being able to see them and look forward to things that are coming, even though you can't unlock them yet.
I agree.
But you know it's like you need a total of I think at the beginning 9 things to master before 7. Before it unlocks the next tier. So I like that because there's 3 different categories that you can put points into, isn't there?
Yeah. There's the survival skills, the hunting skills, and the brawler skills.
Yeah. So I like that they make you spread it around as opposed to just loading up on one thing like I would do.
See, I haven't even got to the brawler aspect of the game yet.
Yeah, because you've only a couple chapters in so far. So, and
because that's what I was about to say. Because that's what's missing from this game is like I hated getting into like where I felt like I should be able to just punch this guy in the throat right now, but
and you can't do anything close combat.
Yeah, and I was like, it
takes a while to get to that point.
It does,
and I found myself using the bow as a quick shot quicker than a gun, which was so like I could put him like on the ground really quick, and then have more time to shoot.
Plus,
him.
it's nice that first skill that I grabbed was the one where you recover arrows.
That was the first thing I did. I saw that. I'm like,
because I was shit at hunting those deer.
Yeah.
Luckily, they have arrows all over the place in this island.
They do.
That too.
They do. There's ammo every fucking where.
Isn't that weird too?
Yeah, I do like. There are some nice aspects to it. For example, if you misplace your, wherever you shoot your arrow or shoot the guy, that's going to affect them in a different way. You can hobble them a little bit. And there's definitely a lot of nice things in there. I just didn't care. I thought the combat went on too long. I was much more interested in sort of climbing around and doing the classic Tomb Raider things. Not that she didn't ever,
It was mostly you're fighting other animals, so it was easy. You're fighting
T-Rexes.
Yeah. Like lions. And
it's interesting when you get into some of those bigger areas where you come in and it's like there's hidden shit everywhere because there's a lot of shit in that game to find. Like it's kind of too much, in my opinion.
Well, the nice thing is that you can find treasure maps that will indicate where everything is, and so then you can set waypoints, and it'll indicate the waypoint won't only just because it creates sort of this highlight, this glowing pillar of light. But it will also put a marker directly on it. Like,
oh, nice. So you
know exactly where it is, and so you just have to figure out how to get in.
I think I only found one treasure map.
And in fact, you get a skill. You can earn a skill too that allows you to basically see any of the unlockable things if you're searching for them through walls if they're close by.
I think I got that.
And they'll kind of stay on your vision after you come out of it for a little bit. So,
the survival instinct.
The survival instincts are the detective vision, detective mode
with the bumper button.
Yeah, with the bumper button. It's pretty good. They mitigate that idea of constantly leaving it on by making it so that if you move, then it's going to turn itself off.
Yeah. I will say I've barely used it. I only used it when I need to orient myself to the checkpoint or like to where I'm supposed to be going. Because sometimes in those big levels, you kind of end up not being where you're supposed to be going and don't really know. But I like that I found for the most part I could get through the game without using it so far.
Yeah, you can if you want.
And I like that.
Yeah, you can.
Because I'm not, half time I forget I got it.
When I was starting to get more frustrated with the firefights later, I was using it more during the fights because it highlights enemies as well.
Oh, okay.
And so I could, because they would sometimes kind of blend in with the background. Otherwise.
See, there's so much of that, like I didn't know it would highlight them because I don't ever use it.
Right.
Like I don't use it.
Yes.
Like it's raining and
like it's
dark and they're wearing I mean that's what they're supposed to be wearing, camouflage. I mean but it still was like
I can't see those guys.
Yeah.
They should be wearing pink.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty cool. I like how it starts off very straightforward and you think you know what's going on, but then fairly early into it, things start to take a left turn towards weird.
Yeah,
and I liked that a lot actually.
Yeah. Did you find any issues with the QuickTime event stuff?
Issues meaning what?
Like I'm pretty sure that like I think I'm probably about halfway through the game, and almost every time that I come up to one of those QuickTime things where you got to hit the Y, I miss it.
Oh,
at least once.
I don't.
And sometimes multiple times.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is.
Problem.
I don't normally do. I think I'm waiting too long.
I found myself with the same problem.
Well, you're not waiting until it gets all the way down to the Y.
I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, because it's got that full ring. It's a little different. And
it is.
It threw me off when it first popped up, and I'm like, why did I do wrong? And then I tried it again, and I'm like, maybe I do this, and it worked okay.
Because I was talking online, like I think I put on Twitter that thus far my experience with this game has been a Lara Croft death simulator, which is what it's been, because every time she would, every like 10 minutes she was fucking dying some horrible death.
Yes.
I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah. It's a snuff film.
They're pretty brutal about that shit too.
I had her jump off a couple cliffs, but that was only because I thought I could make it to like, I was really trying to like break the game or something. I'm like, there's something over there. I could probably get to that.
No, these are like brutal deaths at the hand of people and stuff that was happening to me.
I kept getting my throat ripped out by that wolf.
Rebar through your head,
your
jaw, or something like that.
Brutal. And those guys with the arrows, always the throat. It's like the first one hits your thigh, and the other one's right.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
throat.
That's like, another death.
You're like, oh, ouch, and then.
That's what I'm saying. They went like overboard on her death scenes. I think.
It's pretty, and I think that's that gritty survival thing. I think that's trying to emphasize this idea that it's really hard to survive. Because this is supposed to be the birth of Lara Croft as a strong character, as somebody who can stand on her own, and they try to do that stuff with the being freaked out about killing somebody, but then, 30 minutes later, I'm really good at shooting dudes in the eye with a flaming arrow. And
and she's fine. And she's rolling their bodies.
She might make a couple comments about it here and there, but I just actually wish they would kind of skip that stuff.
Right. Not even put that in there that she had apprehension.
They try to do it. I think a lot of times game designers do it to try to build in like, well, you kind of have to do it. You have to kill these people. I know that.
Right. They're shooting at me.
You do not need to convince me that that is a requirement at this point.
Yeah.
I know she's the good person. I understand that.
Yeah.
She's not killing innocent people.
Yeah. Because, unless you're really going to, draw out that sort of progress to, full-on mass murderer that you get with games like this.
Like Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah. Or Max Payne 3.
Yeah.
To get back to that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Then unless you're really going to really draw that out and really restrict killing in the beginning, then it's not really worth doing, because it's just kind of this hand wave, and then
because it's just showing, because all it does is spotlight how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, it actually draws attention to it. Whereas I think the average gamer was going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Instead of like, oh, I'm glad she's over this already.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, like, I don't know, 14 seconds ago, you were so worried about killing somebody?
Well,
now you're bashing their head in with a rock?
The problem I had was, like, there's that moment where her first person that she kills, and her reaction to it, I thought was awesome.
I thought it was good, yeah.
But it almost was like you're out in the open, and you're having this full get back in that little
having a breakdown.
Yeah, get back in that hiding spot you were just in and have a breakdown there. So... yeah, I could kind of see how that would be over the head. I thought the deer one was really nice. I thought if they just would have left that in, and
sure,
Well,
I really liked the atmosphere, and then it just kind of fell apart as I went on a full scale XP hunt.
Now at the end of the game, can you go back and still get stuff? Okay, so maybe that's the way to play.
You can fast
too.
Travel between the.
I wish I knew that ahead of time.
That?
I wish I knew, and maybe now knowing that ahead of time, I'm not going to worry about it as much. Maybe now I'm going to just run through the game and then come back and search for things when I'm done.
Although
all those Zelda spiders, those Zelda night spiders, they're not that, but that's what they remind me from Ocarina of Time.
What are you talking about?
Well, there's they're hanging from the trees, those little like wind catchers.
Oh, but in the very first area, it's one of the challenges.
Yeah, but
because they have challenges in every area.
They do have challenges. One thing that pisses me off though is that you cannot get a description for those challenges. It'll keep track of that on your map, but I cannot find anywhere in my little menus that it explains it. So I went back, and I think that one's called Ghost Hunter.
Yeah,
to find those, and I'm like, Ghost Hunter.
Oh, I've seen that, but I didn't know what it was.
Ghost Hunter. What was I doing for that one again? and I had no clue.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while. I'm like, oh wait, because I ran across one of those. I'm like,
So
oh,
the
it's
thing's
these
hanging
things.
in the tree?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's one like before you get to the first camp, I saw
Yeah.
it like right away. And
I remember
was
when I
like,
got
I gotta
my-
come back to this.
I remember when I got my arrow because I ran right back to that
Me too.
spot. I'm like, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Zelda spiders.
Well, that's what they remind me of.
Skull,
Yep, the skull spider.
Skulltulas or whatever
Yeah.
they were called.
He's making all the noise.
And he had to listen for him.
Yep.
Good times.
But yeah, you can go back to all that. However, I should point out that there is actually one achievement that you cannot go back to later. Like it requires you to do things throughout the game
Oh, no.
at certain stages.
Well, I'm probably already
and
done
if you
then.
miss one, yeah, probably. If you miss one, you have to start over from the beginning of the
Oh,
game.
great.
Do it all.
Sounds good.
And it's a secret achievement.
Awesome. I'm never going to get them all anyway, so who cares?
No, I know.
I like those secret
I just thought
tombs
that
you
was weird,
find.
though.
Yeah.
the tombs. Although they're,
I only
yeah,
found one so far.
I
though.
really wanted them to be more though.
Yeah,
Like they're a one-room puzzle.
I thought it was weird because I'm like, oh, we're going to go I was kind of feeling like the Assassin's Creed when you would go into those like tombs and
this-
then you would have to do a bunch of things.
This was the stuff that the original Tomb Raiders were built on, primarily.
And so I would go in and you do one thing and then I was done. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's it?
Yeah, yeah.
It took longer to get to this room, to like walk
It
to
does.
this place than to figure out what I needed to do.
I do like that they hide the loading times, though.
Yeah.
In the little passageways that you're going through.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. But yeah, it does actually take longer a lot of times to.
I'm like
to get
walking up to
the-
this big thing and I'm like,
to-
oh, this is going to be awesome.
I
And you
know.
go in there and you like raise up one thing and there's the treasure chest. I'm like, what? We're done? I guess I'll leave. Cool. Thanks. But you finished the game, so
I did.
How was it? Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Thanks for.
But how did was it okay?
Yeah, I
You
liked
happy with
it.
the ending? Okay,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are some things where I'm like, why did nobody else think of this all this time?
Yeah.
All these hundreds of years that
Yeah.
this has been going on. But it was nice. I like that it didn't try, because the old Tomb Raider games definitely played with the mythology
Yeah.
and sort of the power behind that. And I like that, like I said before, this one starts off very realistic, but then starts taking turns for the weird, and I enjoyed that was included in there.
Cool.
And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. There's some questions that are still maybe left a little unanswered. I was like, whoa, I thought it was going hard and core in one direction. Then at one point I'm like, oh, maybe that was a little too, me putting too much into it. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a more rational explanation here. But I enjoyed the story for what it was. Yeah, but a lot of times I would be like, hold on, I got to go find this thing. There's a flashing beacon up there.
Don't die yet.
There is those weird moments in that game where like your character's constantly running and then you see something and then you stop to like take a little 5-minute break to like, oh, what is that over there?
I gotta make a rope bridge because I'm probably gonna want to come back to this.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna look really quickly, see if there's anything on the other side of
Don't
this
bleed
rope
out. There's a GPS cache over here. And literally it'll probably give me nothing.
bridge. Hold on, I gotta read this book.
Just a second.
Just a minute.
All right, well, cool.
I thought it was a beautiful
Good
looking
game.
game.
Yeah,
too.
it's great.
I
It's
think-
great looking.
I mean,
I-
it's just
I feel like I've been complaining a lot, but I actually enjoyed it quite
Yeah.
a bit. I'm looking forward to playing some more.
Cool.
I might even try out the multiplayer.
do it.
I hope it's gonna be the same combat though that I hate so bad.
Yeah, it's going to be all that.
I know.
I've heard not good things about the multiplayer.
I don't understand the multiplayer in that
because
aspect.
they don't want you to sell the game.
Are you all Laura Croft?
I don't think so. Maybe nobody's Laura Croft.
See, they should have a little tiny like spider monkey to do a co-op with you.
And you get to play the spider
Yeah.
monkey? Does she have a monkey in the other
Navi?
games?
No, but it'd be cool if she found one on the
Hey,
island.
listen. Hey, listen.
Or what was that
Listen!
fairy person?
Jingle?
from- Jingle. That's what I was trying to think of, actually, not Navi.
Navi's even worse, though.
Yeah, but you can't control Navi, can you?
No.
No.
Hey, listen.
Navi.
Listen. Shut the fuck up, Navi. I don't have a choice but to listen to you. So, yeah, you don't think it's all Lara Crofts in the multiplayer? Everybody running around?
I don't know.
12 of them?
No
Different
idea.
color shirts?
I have no idea.
Can you do the sideways dual pistol shooting like they used to have in the old? That was some where you do a side flip and you'd have dual pistols, and I'd be just doing flips across.
Like Max Payne style.
You'd be
Yeah,
like-
no, she would do like full acrobatic,
Yeah.
like
okay.
gymnastics moves.
Yeah, and
no,
just-
she doesn't get to the gymnastics level.
She's not trained yet.
I know,
Yeah,
I
because
know.
actually in those games they made a point that
Yeah.
she was training for
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Because then you would have that whole intro where you'd walk through her whole little training stuff. But that was one of my favorite things because tigers would come out of nowhere and then I'd be doing
Yes,
these flips.
exactly.
And then I'd do a flip and then you're falling. I'm like, that's so not a wall.
So she doesn't do like an accidental somersault, double flip, double handgun thing in the game and go,
no. They
I'll have to remember that.
They
Some
really
kind of lame shit.
they really downplay the acrobatic skills of. I mean, she does go across a couple bars, but even then, it's not like Prince of Persia style.
Yeah.
Full flipping off of that. It's just kind of like, oh, I grabbed that bar, oh, and then falling to like the next area.
I think
There's so much falling in this
like
game.
the mechanics for her are really good too.
That's
I think
where it feels like-
I think the way that they have her portrayed is fantastic. Like especially like having to grab things, like some of the hold your breath moments that they have in the game.
I liked some of the tiny touches. Like I was on a ledge. It was early in the beginning, when I was walking by, and she would put her hand out
Yeah.
to the wall as she was getting close to it, and I thought that was kind of.
I think maybe subconsciously that's why it feels more like an Uncharted game than even just the setting and the gameplay. It's because of the way they have the character act. Because Drake is always like unsure and he's kind of clumsy and he's not like meant for this stuff.
Yeah.
He's more of a bumbling, kind of adventurer.
I think they did a really good
And
job.
so they do that in this with her too.
I think they did a really good job in this game too with that, with her being very unsure and selling that across without really limiting the player and limiting their ability to have fun in the game. And then it does feel like she has a build where she gets to a point where she's more assured, and kind of at the end it's leading off into the first game or something like that.
I hadn't thought of it outside of the surface level, but I
Yeah.
think that's probably why I'm feeling that more than anything is the way that they have the character playing, and it feels like a female version of him.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's funny.
Cool.
but I like it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. That it? We done?
Yes.
All right. Let's end
It's a
this.
lot of games.
It's a lot of games. Let's end the show then. Signedinpodcast.com is our website. You can find links to our Twitter. I'm on Twitter at signedinpodcast. Craig is at Twitter, on Twitter at
The pull list.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Sean is
I had
on
to wait for you to fix it.
Sean is
yourself, since I didn't make this.
Twitter
At. That'd been awesome, but no, I'm at Shonix.
at Shonix. All right. And
1X.
you can find links to our Facebook fan page. Please join us over there
Yes,
as well. And links to our forums. Join the forums and talk about us. Talk bad about us. We don't delete comments. We'll leave it on there.
That's true.
and I don't really ever.
OMG,
gotta
shut
get
up.
there.
I did delete that spam
Did we have spam?
once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a bot coming in there to try to sell us like
That's how we know.
kitchen counters.
That's when you know you made it.
exactly.
Every day I go in and delete my 15 spam messages on email, I know that we've made it somewhere because somebody's seeing our email address.
Yes,
Somebody that wants us to buy things.
that's why you write the at out.
I know. And links to all the other pseudo radio shows. That's what I needed to mention, like the pull list and 3-Day Block.
Yep.
And you can email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. Please, somebody write us. Hey, we haven't mentioned it in a while. But I think we got one like a month ago. But we could use some more, and I don't know if new people are listening, but if you are on iTunes, leave us a review on iTunes.
Oh yeah.
We haven't done that in a while, so run out there and do that quick. That'd be great.
We'll wait.
Even leave a bad one. It still counts.
Yep, still counts.
It does. Just be honest. That's all
Still
we
a
ask
visit.
for. We don't want you to lie for us. Just be honest.
No, I want you to laugh.
Go out there. Make us laugh. Go make us laugh with some of your comments.
Wow, you are so
With
demanding.
review. I want to be fun. I want to see funny. Next episode, we are going to have our Aliens Colonial Marines contest winner.
Yes,
that
you will.
correct?
I thought you were going to say a private chat or something.
Private chat. Aliens Colonial Marines private chat. So
No, we will have that end.
So cancel your subscription now to any feed you're getting us from. And the only game I know of that's coming out that is Gears of War Judgment. Mm-hmm. Oof. Oh wait, the new God of War comes out, but I'm not going to talk about that on this show. It's my other podcast.
your secret.
My other podcast.
I want to do a Home Alone in front of a mirror.
With his comb. Put a pair of headphones on and grab your comb,
I do.
your brush.
I'm practicing.
Yep. It's good.
to leave you guys. But I don't know anything else is coming out. I'm sure some other XBLA games.
Yeah.
I'm sure games will come out.
And you're going to play Gears of War. Are you
More
getting
than
into it? Do
likely.
you know?
Yeah, more than likely I'll buy it.
Ugh, you love Baird.
I hate Baird, but it's got young Cole in it.
Young Colin.
Yep, it's got young Cole in
Powell.
it. And he's like,
Colin Powell.
He's like, woo.
No, he's not a baby.
He's got an afro, big afro.
No, he doesn't.
He does have hair in it though, and he's not.
Does he?
Yeah,
Isn't this literally like just a week before or a month before or after the first game? What is it?
or something like that.
It's set in the
It's
60s.
just like 18. It's 1929.
Yeah, this is
Prohibition.
It's steampunk Gears of War. Steampunk. They go back in time. Baird finds a DeLorean, and they go back in time.
It's Prohibition era, and you're roughing up speakeasies.
It's like,
Sounds
what,
good.
What kind of car is this?
And Cole busts through the door of the dresser speakeasy that they wrecked.
He's like,
Yes.
The dresser family. And he's like, woo!
and he's like, oh yeah.
You're out of it. That's the Kool-Aid man.
I know, but we're trying to do references here.
80s. I know that
I know.
guy.
See, yeah, and they're gold.
That's
80s,
funny.
80, right? I said the DeLorean. Come on.
Oh, the
Back to
DeLorean.
the future.
I saw that Back to the Future movie. I love it. 1.2 what?
No one ever does time machine anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a DeLorean.
Phone booth, you mean?
Oh, what did I say?
Time booth.
Time booth.
That's all right. Whatever.
It's still a time booth. Like you can make
Retro
calls
City
with that
Rampage
thing.
had both.
I know.
Automatic teller machines.
Yes.
Are we done? Did we come full circle now?
Yes.
I think so.
All right.
Yes.
Let's.
I think I'm going back into the womb, actually.
Yeah. That explains this. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, let's just.
Oh,
Did you notice all the dripping in this room?
Oh
I was
no!
going to say the smell, but
I'm out. I'm out.
let's leave.
Before I say bye, I'm out.
Oh.